Chapter 850. This is the communication talisman. Knight Chin Emperor flipped his hand and took out two triangular translucent stones covered in complex engravings. It was similar to the jadeite material of Earth. Once the spirit imprint is infused, it'll be considered the owner. Knight Chin Emperor said, "Only with the talisman can you enter the altar, otherwise you can't." These engravings contain the space and water laws. Wow, what mysterious origin law engravings. Tiger Thorn received the talisman and examined it carefully. He couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. Luo Feng, too, received a thread of spirit energy and entered the talisman. Immediately, the spirit imprint entered and the talisman entered Luo Feng's skin. The spirit imprint was also the soul imprint and life imprint. Tiger Thorn received the talisman too. "All right, let's depart," Knight Chin Emperor ordered. Xiao. The three experts from the human camp instantly disappeared from the cave, reappearing in the depths of the underground 1,000,000,000,000 kilometers away. Deep underground, Luo Feng felt the space warp. Before, he was still in the cave. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in the dark underground. Luo Feng looked at the huge object standing in the mud and rocks. As it was covered by the mud and rocks, he could only see a few hundred meters ahead. This was a huge structure with a circular door. The door was completely shut. Even after 1,000,000,000,000 years, the altar was completely undamaged. "Babata, scan the altar," Luo Feng said. "I can't scan the altar. I can only discover that within a 20 kilometers area, there's only mud and rocks." Even a mini scanning device can't detect it? Luo Feng was shocked. He had long heard that scanning devices couldn't detect the altar. Even a universe knight's god energy couldn't detect it. However, only after trying out did he realize how powerful the altar was. "It's clearly right in front of me, yet my god energy scan can't detect it." Tiger Thorn's voice was powerful as he roared. "Scanning with my god energy scan, I can only feel that there's countless rocks and mud ahead. However, I can clearly see it with my naked eye. This is the mystery of the altar." Knight Chin Emperor smiled. "Without reaching the altar, even a universe knight can't find it. This altar is the survival base of the Aboriginals when they flee. It's the main tool they use when fleeing. It's just that mysterious." A corpse. Luo Feng looked ahead and saw a corpse lying on a rock. It was about 2.6 m tall, its entire body like jade, with 6 arms and a bald head. Its entire body emitted a pressure that was the pressure of an undying to be able to go through trillions of years without rotting. This was naturally an undying. The suppressive force is quite strong. This undying corpse's god power is obviously very condensed. It should be king-ranked. The Tiger Thorn King walked over and stood at the side to observe. He's a king-ranked martial artist. The Nightstar King also looked at the corpse and smiled. "When I was fleeing, this altar was managed by 6 king-ranked formidable martial artists. Each of them had a message talisman. Looks like he didn't suffer any pain when he died." Luo Feng observed carefully. The corpse had an anxious expression on its face, and its eyes were still wide open. However, it had died just like that, and it seemed to have died very suddenly. He died very quickly. Emperors are very hard to kill. However, when he died, his armor wasn't damaged at all. Obviously, there wasn't any intense battle. The Nightstar King said, "I guess, when the 4 pinnacle races opened the battlefield, the large group of knights unleashed their soul attacks and swept through the entire Yanji continent. All life on the continent was wiped out. The 6 emperors died instantly too." Luo Feng nodded. Nightstar King, Tiger Thorn King, and Luo Feng were outside the passage. "Wait patiently for the enemy to arrive," the Nightstar King said. "I think he'll be here soon." Luo Feng and Tiger Thorn King sat cross-legged in front of the passage and waited silently. Within moments, 3 silhouettes appeared before them. "Nightstar King, you sure are fast." A sharp and ear-piercing voice rang out, and a 3-meter-tall figure covered in black and gold scales appeared. His head was vertical, and his eyes were very small, like those of a poisonous snake. His silver-white lips were opened, and he let out an ear-piercing, strange laughter. Ga. These are the two helpers you invited. This seemingly barbaric fellow should be Tiger Thorn King. Oh, silver armor and silver wings. Never seen them before. He squinted at Luo Feng. Let me introduce them first. The Night Star King's gaze swept past the three warriors of the enemy camp and said solemnly, I, Night Star King. I, Tiger Thorn King. The barbaric and crazed Tiger Thorn King roared. I don't have the title of Emperor yet. My nickname is Yang. Luo Feng's gaze swept past the three warriors of the enemy camp. Those three warriors. Luo Feng could tell at a glance that two of them were from the Chiho tribe, and the other one was the famous King Songjin of the Sacrifician continent. King Songjin was famous, so Luo Feng knew a lot about him. As for the two from the Chiho tribe, Luo Feng knew nothing about them. After all, his time on the Sacrifician continent was too short. Of the two Chiho race warriors, one was close to 3 m tall, and the other was only 6 m. My side has already introduced themselves. Iceblade, what about you guys? The Night Star King shouted. My nickname is Iceblade. The 3 m tall Chiho race warrior laughed weirdly. Purple Bell King. The 6 m tall Chiho race warrior was similarly skinny, and his voice was even more piercing. Ash Gold King. This was a huge man who was as tall as Tiger Thorn King. His face had Thunderlaw engravings on it. As he stood there, lightning snakes could be seen around him. That tyrannical aura pressed down on the human side. However, the Tiger Thorn King also exploded with a heart-palpitating aura. Even space itself seemed to be cracking. Two camps. One was the human camp, and the other was the automaton camp. Of course, the automaton camp didn't have a single automaton. We can be considered to know each other. Iceblade laughed ear-piercingly. Let's enter together. Let's go. Night Star King said too. Ash Gold Emperor and Purple Bell King followed Iceblade. Luo Feng and Tiger Thorn King follow Night Star. They all walked directly towards the tunnel door. The tunnel door was already closed, but when the first body of the Iceblade touched the tunnel door, the originally incomparably hard material flowed like liquid. The Iceblade walked into the interior of the altar just like that. Night Star King did the same. As for Luo Feng and the other three warriors, they were still extremely cautious as it was their first time entering the passage. How strange. The moment Luo Feng's body touched it, the passage door automatically flowed, allowing Luo Feng to pass through like water. In the huge circular passage that was about 1 kilometer wide stood Luo Feng and the other 6 Emperor-level warriors. Behind them was the passage. This treasure hunt won't be easy. Luo Feng's gaze swept past the 3 enemy warriors. That Iceblade, high-level Emperor level, not much of a threat. However, Ash Gold Emperor is an extremely famous warrior in the entire Yanji continent. He should have an Emperor-level pinnacle. Yang, Night Star King, this is going to be troublesome. Tiger Thorn Emperor communicated. I didn't expect them to have Ash Gold Emperor. Night Star King looked at Luo Feng and Tiger Thorn Emperor. That Iceblade is weaker than me. He knows that if he doesn't invite someone stronger than him, he probably won't be able to snatch the treasure from me. According to my information and conjecture, that Purple Bell Emperor should have an Emperor-level pinnacle. An Ash Gold Emperor you all know, he's an Emperor-level pinnacle. Emperor-level pinnacle. Luo Feng, Tiger Thorn Emperor, and Night Star King all felt the pressure. Emperor-level warriors were divided according to their strength. They were usually split into beginner, upper, and pinnacle emperors. Beginner King level Undying God Body usually had 10,000 times the power of a Sector Lord. Upper-level emperors had about 30,000 times Sector Lord strength. Pinnacle emperors had about 100,000 times Sector Lord strength. And 100,000 times Sector Lord strength was the highest level a human emperor Undying could reach. Without some heaven-defying luck, there was no way to break through. However, amongst the emperor warriors, there were a few who had body amplification techniques. For example, the Golden Horn Beast had the deity of the world, beast god transformation and a natural ability strengthening technique, which allowed its body to explode with 20 times its strength, like true yin who had received a god general's inheritance. Of course, there were other absolute warriors who had received a god general's inheritance or had body amplifier techniques. Body amplification was very difficult. Beast god transformation was such a technique, yet the first level could only amplify by 2 times. Deities of the world was powerful. However, it was a combination of the golden horn beast's natural talent swallowing to create a body amplifier technique. Just like Luo Feng's earth body, he only had one body amplifier technique, the beast god transformation. Hence, there were very few human body amplifier techniques. Normally, being able to amplify by 3 to 5 times was already very rare. As for the god general's inheritance, there were too few of them. Even the universe knights fought for this slot. Large amounts of the races within the Great Alliance fought for it. To obtain a god general's inheritance, one had to spend tens of billions of mixed elements and owe a bunch of favors. This wasn't something normal emperors could do. Therefore, king-conferred experts were usually at the beginner stage, advanced stage, and peak stage king-conferred. Only a few with body amplification techniques or soul amplification techniques, or created their own pinnacle techniques, or had special encounters, could explode with the strength of an emperor. And above, with many fortuitous encounters and one's own abilities, one could create an emperor that was comparable to a normal universe knight. Like True Yin, an Ash Gold Emperor was at the pinnacle of the Emperor level. The pinnacle is only one level stronger than us. Even though we are slightly weaker, the difference isn't huge. Knight Chin Emperor said, leave Ash Gold Emperor to me. Tiger Thorn's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Luo Feng glanced at Tiger Thorn. Tiger Thorn was famous for his ferocity. He could hold his own against Ash Gold Emperor. Actually, we have another advantage in this altar, and that's Yang. Knight Chin Emperor surveyed his surroundings. The tall walls of the circular passageway had countless ancient carvings and origin law energies emanating from them. This altar is very mysterious. Its entire body is filled with mysterious energy. For example, the entire space within the altar is sealed. That's why I can't rely on teleportation to enter the core region. Teleportation, this ability was very strong. To be able to teleport from the outside into the ship, if the altar was a normal structure, Knight Chin Emperor would have long teleported into the core region. Under the space seal, Yang's speed and dodging will be a huge advantage for us. Also, Tiger Thorn and I are both at the pinnacle of the Emperor level. Even though Ash Gold Emperor is at the pinnacle of the Emperor level, we are not much different from them. Knight Chin Emperor said, while Luo Feng's side was conversing. Ice Blade, Purple Bell Emperor, and Ash Gold Emperor were conversing too. After a few seconds, let's enter the core region. Ice Blade said, let's go. Knight Chin Emperor nodded. Chapter 851. Their words were beautiful. However, Knight Chin Emperor's side and Ice Blade's side were secretly on guard. Right now, both sides needed to work together to enter the core region. Hence, they could maintain peace on the surface. However, the moment they entered the core region, plus they were hostile races and also competitors for the treasures, it would be weird if they didn't kill each other. Purple Bell Emperor looked at Luo Feng and the others. His gaze was like a blade. Luo Feng, too, looked coldly at him. Enmity, both sides didn't hide it. They weren't stupid. There was no need to hide it. Corpses. So many corpses. Luo Feng and the others walked along the circular pathway. The entire pathway was 1 kilometer wide and 3 kilometers tall, going around the entire interior and exterior of the altar. Even though the altar's height was only tens of thousands of km, the circular pathway's length was hundreds of thousands of kilometers. The circular pathway occasionally connected to large halls. Every hall had corpses and skeletons. They're all undying corpses. As for the skeletons, they should be Sector Lord level. As for Domain Lord, Universe level, they've long since rotted to the point of nothing. Luo Feng looked at the over 1,000 kilometers wide cabin with corpses. He couldn't help but exclaim within, these were all killed by the 4 pinnacle races. The large group of knights from the four pinnacle races may not have discovered the altar. However, the altar could at most hide. It couldn't defend against the soul attacks. The soul attacks swept through. They were all destroyed, even an emperor level being killed instantly, much less the other undyings or even the weaker natives of the Yanji continent. Young, Tiger Thorn Emperor communicated. Luo Feng glanced at Tiger Thorn Emperor. Have you noticed that all the undying corpses we've seen, they don't have any space rings, world rings, or weapons? Tiger Thorn Emperor communicated. Ha! Luo Feng naturally understood the reason. Knight Chun Emperor and that ice blade, they've looted very cleanly. Tiger Thorn King said the two of them entered long ago. Other than the core region, they at least swept through the residential region. The treasures of the six titled emperors and large amounts of other undyings, just how much did Knight Chun King get? It really makes my heart itch. Knight Chun Emperor, how's your loot? Tiger Thorn Emperor was direct, communicating and asking. I've only gotten 3 emperor corpses. The Yanji race is far from the human pinnacle races. Those emperors are poor too. Their loot is average. Knight Chun Emperor said directly, "You've gotten it easy." Tiger Thorn Emperor communicated. The two teams quickly arrived at the entrance of the core area of the altar while conversing via voice transmission. This entrance. Luo Feng looked at the entrance in front of him. This was a gigantic hexagram. The 6 corners of the hexagram were passages, 6 passages with a diameter of around 10 m. Inside the passages was a blurry light. The layers were like thin films, faintly emitting powerful energies that made one's heart palpitate. According to the information we've obtained, the 6 experts will have to enter from 6 different tunnels. They will have to break through layers of obstacles before embedding their messengers into the concave. Only when all 6 messengers have been embedded can they open the tunnel and enter the core area. The treasure is in the core area, Knight Chun King said. Yes. Bing Ji nodded. Every passage has layers of obstructions. Ordinary official rank, undying, can charge in. It should be a method used by the natives of Flaming Ritual Continent to stop their own juniors from entering the core region. Layers of obstacles? The Mountain Tiger race's Purple Bell King looked coldly at the Ice Blade beside him and snorted. Ice Blade, are you messing with me? The energy faintly emanating from this passageway is not weak. What if it contains a special attack that kills us? If you're afraid, then don't enter. Tiger Thorn snorted coldly. Coward, Luo Feng said intentionally. Ice Blade, the helper you hired is so cowardly. Knight Chun King mocked. The human side laughed, causing Ash Gold Emperor, Ice Blade, and Purple Bell Emperor to crease their eyebrows. Purple Bell Emperor glanced at the human side and snorted coldly, not saying a word. However, Purple Bell Emperor, Ice Blade, and Ash Gold Emperor exchanged glances and communicated. Obviously, they had been discussing. Luo Feng, Tiger Thorn Emperor, and Knight Chun Emperor's side were discussing too. I've already tested it many times. Relax, I'll lead the way in. Knight Chun Emperor was extremely confident. I have the Wu Killer Wings, General Armor. It's not very realistic for this energy to kill me. What's more, this is just my earth body. Even if something happens, it's still within control. Luo Feng was extremely confident. Knight Chun Emperor, I trust you. Tiger Thorn Emperor trusted Knight Chun Emperor too. After a while, both sides had discussed internally. Now that they were right in front of the treasure, how could they retreat? Enter. Enter. Both teams did the same. Knight Chun Emperor, Tiger Thorn Emperor, and Luo Feng each went through a pathway. Ice Blade, Ash Gold Emperor, and Purple Bell Emperor too went through a pathway. 6 passageways, 6 powerhouses, this water screen? Luo Feng's wings spread and wrapped around himself, forcing his way in. The moment he passed through, even though there was some resistance, it couldn't stop Luo Feng's strength. Chi. In one breath, he passed through the layers of water screens. Even though each was stronger than the last, Luo Feng's earth body strength was over 10,000 times that of a sector lord. He easily reached the end of the pathway. At the end of the pathway, There was a triangular hole in the wall. It matched perfectly with the message Luo Feng had before. The message appeared in Luo Feng's palm, and he gently embedded it. Ding! The message entered, and the entire pathway's origin law engravings began to light up. Even the space began to tremble. Ding! The other pathways, too, began to tremble. In an instant, the 6 pathways began to tremble simultaneously. The engravings on the 6 pathways grew brighter and brighter. This scene made Luo Feng and the other warriors nervous. Such treasure hunting had its own risks. If they didn't take the risk, why would they barge in? And everyone was certain that the risk was low. That was why they dared to barge in. Even so, no one had complete confidence. Within the entire control room of the altar's 3D projection floated. Through it, one could see the various regions of the altar. When Luo Feng and the other 6 warriors entered the altar, alien invasion. Alien invasion. Sitting in the control room was a 6-armed mechanical puppet made entirely of alloy. It was a mechanical puppet made to imitate the appearance of the natives of the Yenji continent, and it contained an intelligent life. It had been monitoring the entire altar for countless years, and the long years had made it evolve into an intelligent life. After countless years, it finally discovered the alien invasion. So, it immediately stood up and stepped into a water screen. This water screen was the God Country's space pathway. Just like how the Black Dragon Mountain Empire built a fixed pathway to the God Country on their capital planet. A fixed pathway had to do with distance. The further the distance, the more shocking the cost of building and maintaining the pathway. However, the closer the distance, the less the cost of building and maintaining the pathway. Even that undying from the Black Dragon Mountain Empire could maintain it. Building a pathway in the control room of the altar was a simple matter. An AI robot appeared on the peak of a vast mountain, in front of a majestic temple. Looking down from the peak, it could see densely packed residential areas in the distance. Countless natives of the Flame Sacrifice realm lived on this vast divine nation continent. So, a golden-robed 6-armed tall silhouette appeared in mid-air. It was a Flame Sacrifice clansman. "Master," the AI robot said respectfully. "Why aren't you at the altar? Why are you here?" The golden-robed warrior said seriously. "Master, an intruder has been discovered in the altar," the AI robot said. "Intruder?" The golden-robed warrior's eyes lit up. Like 2 beams of light, the space around them crackled. He laughed loudly. "Altar, my race's legacy altar? How long has it been? How long has it been? We've been hiding and reproducing, secretly living on some mineral planets. Once we're discovered, we immediately flee, struggling at death's door. Finally, there's an intruder. Finally, there's an intruder." The golden-robed warrior laughed loudly. "Emperor Undyings are all here. Third brother, bring them all here." The golden-robed warrior's voice rang out in many areas of the God Country. In just a breath's time, 11 powerful silhouettes appeared beside the golden-robed warrior. These warriors all had 6 arms, skin like jade, bald heads. Clearly, they were natives of the Flame Sacrifice continent, and the energy they emitted was incredibly strong. They had already reached the Emperor Undying level. "God Master! God Master!" The 11 Undying looked at the golden-robed warrior in confusion. "What's the rush to summon us? The altar we sat on has finally welcomed an invader," the golden-robed warrior said. The 11 Undying were so excited their bodies trembled. More than half of them were crying tears of joy. "How many years has it been? How many years has it been? Back then, our clan faced a calamity, and the Venerable Ones were the main targets of the 4 peak clans. We split up into 10,000 teams and fled in different directions. Each team carried our clan's inheritance and treasures in an attempt to rise again. However, those abominable 4 peak-level races came too quickly. I'm afraid only a few of our 10,000 teams could escape. The 6 leaders of our team were still arranging for their clansmen to enter the sacrificial tower when the attack came. One of the Emperor's face was full of tears, his body trembling. Some of us undyings were placed in the core region. Luckily, Third Brother was smart back then. To prevent any accidents, he left a token in the altar, and we all teleported to Third Brother's God Country. Who knew? When we returned to the altar, we found that the altar was already dead. The 6 leaders all died outside the altar because they were arranging for their people. Without the 6 message talismans, we can't even open the altar's treasure. Without the race's inheritance and treasures, while our God Country has countless people, we can't nurture strong warriors. No message talismans. The core region's passageway is closed. Even if we teleport into the core region, we can't leave. We don't dare to return to Yinji continent. We don't dare to return. We don't dare to gamble. Once we're found, the 4 peak races will kill us to the last. Our bloodline will be wiped out. It's been too long. This king-ranked expert's face was wrinkled. Tears streamed down his face, but his eyes were filled with madness. Finally, alien invaders have come. They will bring the transmission talisman. We will finally be able to obtain the transmission talisman and the treasures of our race. Finally, our chance is here, the golden-robed warrior said. The eyes of the other king-ranked experts were filled with a crazed look. 2 chapters completed. Red Tiger, who was in the same hotel room as him, was snoring like thunder. Tomato worked so hard to write. Was it easy for him? Could everyone bear not to give him monthly votes? Chapter 852. In the distant ancient era, the aboriginals of the Sacrifice Yin continent faced a calamity. Back then, the aboriginals of the Sacrifice Yin continent were just a normal race in the universe. There were less than 10 knights in the race. Against the 4 pinnacle races that opened up the battlefield, they were like ants trembling in fear. Those few knights knew that they were the main targets, and the chances of them escaping were extremely low. Hence, they quickly distributed the accumulated treasures of the few universe paragons and their clansmen to their clansmen. At that time, they were actually split into 100 small teams, and Team 9900 was considered to be a fake team. The 10,000 altars were also of different levels. Teams like Team 9900 were cannon fodder that were used to fool the 4P clans into pursuing them. Using some special sacrificial runes, the altars also contained aura concealment abilities, and spatial sealing abilities. However, the materials used to build the pagodas were much weaker. Actually, there were many differences between the 100 teams and the 9900 team. For example, in a true legacy team, each team would have 6 king-ranked formidable martial artists leading them. And the normal 9900 team had 6 official undyings leading them. The treasures were different too. The 9900 normal teams had very few treasures. The inheritors had the true large amounts of treasures, the true inheritors of the race. And obviously, Luo Feng's team had detected that the 6 leaders of this pagoda were all emperor level. This was one of the 100 pagodas back then. At the peak of the mountain, the winds howled. This bloodline had survived till now. After countless years, the remaining 12 emperors looked at each other, their eyes filled with passion and madness. "Let's go to the pagoda," the gold-robed warrior said. The 11 emperors nodded. The 12 emperors swiftly followed the water screen and passed through it. Within the control room of the pagoda, the gold-robed warrior led the 12 emperors and gathered within the control room. The AI robot followed closely behind. "Master, look." The robot pointed at the 3D projection. "The pagoda is monitoring the entire area. They are currently following the circular pathway." 6. The gold-robed warrior stared. The 6 silhouettes projected were extremely clear. Whether it was the golden-eyed wingman knight, Chin Emperor, the rugged tiger clan's Iceblade, the tall and huge pale gold emperor, the silver-armored and winged Luo Foam, they were all clearly displayed on the projection. "The humans still have some weak alien races," the golden-robed expert said in a low voice. "Create a virtual image of these 6 targets. Simulate their auras." A plump, kink-and-furred expert standing at the side gave the order. Immediately, 6 figures that were as tall as their real bodies and had simulated auras floated in the control room. The altar simulated at least 10% of the auras of Luo Feng and the other 5. The fattest of the survivors squinted his eyes and said softly, "These 6 should all be at the pinnacle of Emperor level. Maybe with special treasures, they're even stronger." "What?" "Third brother, clan elder." The other experts all looked at him. This third brother was the one who brought a group of undyings to his god country. In addition, there were already some clansmen in the god kingdom. That was the only way the original people of the sacrifice flame continent could survive. This third brother was also the strongest amongst them, but he rarely took care of anything. The person in charge of this branch was actually the golden-robed expert. "Third brother, are you sure?" The golden-robed expert looked at him. "That's right. Chiochika wouldn't be wrong." The plump Chiochika revealed a smile, and the 6 of them are split into 2 factions. Even though they're moving together, they're enemies. We still have a chance. Enemy factions. The golden-robed expert and the other undyings looked carefully, swiftly discovering some clues and deducing. The 6 were indeed split into 2 factions. "This is our chance," Chiochika said solemnly. "However, in this battle, the weaker ones are useless." "Clan elder, third brother." Immediately, some of the lower-level Emperor-level clansmen shouted out. "Pu Ai is at the pinnacle. Latimer and Minbu are upper-level Emperor level. The 3 of them and me, a total of 4, will stay here. As for Big Brother, the 8 of you will return to the god country." Chiochika immediately made his decision. "You won't be of much use, and this battle will be very dangerous. We don't have many powerful techniques like these other races. We've lost our legacies, so we don't have many techniques. The 8 of you will still have to lead our race. For the race, return." Chiochika gazed at them. The 8 lower-level Emperor level were very unwilling. Yes, clan elder. For the race." All of them could only listen to Chiochika's orders. "Clan elder, god master, all of you have to return. You have to return alive." The 8 lower-level Emperor level experts were very worried. "Don't worry, we still have to return the true legacy techniques of the race." Chiochika waved his hand, "Go." The 8 lower-level Emperor level experts followed the water screen and left. In the control room, only the 4 strongest experts and the AI mech were left. The natives of Yinji continent used to live in tribes. Usually, the chief of a tribe was the god master, while the strongest was the clan elder. The clan elder was in charge of leading the tribe, while the god master was in charge of managing the tribe. For strong experts, clan elder Chiochika, god lord Pu Ai, Latimer, and Minbu, 2 peak stage Regis God Fiends, and 2 high-level Regis God Fiends. The enemies will soon reach the core region entrance. Chiochika pointed at the projection, and the treasures within the core region, as everyone knows, are split into 2 treasure rooms and 1 legacy room. The 2 treasure rooms contain all sorts of expensive materials, weapons, and mysterious treasures. The legacy room contains all sorts of mystic arts that our race has accumulated over countless years that are most suitable for our race's life structure. A vast number of mystic arts are in the legacy room. With these mystic arts, we can bestow different mystic arts to our descendants according to their different talents and nurture powerful experts. Chiochika said in a low voice, "Our 12 Regis all came from the Calamity era. None of them were born and nurtured after the disaster. The main reason is that we lack many mystic arts and cannot properly nurture our descendants. After all, the mystic arts that we know are only a 10,000th of the race's mystic arts. Our first target, seize the legacy room and send the legacy room's mystic arts to the divine kingdom." Chiochika pointed at the other 2 cabins on the holographic projection. These 2 are treasure rooms. One of them can be opened only by our clansmen. We've already obtained the treasures in that treasure room. The other treasure room can only be opened by our clansmen with the communication talisman. Of the 2 treasure rooms, one has few treasures and the other has many. According to what I know, The second treasure room has tens of times more treasures than the first. Chiochika said in a low voice. The second target is this unopened treasure room. Yes. The other three nodded. The difficulty of opening the three treasure rooms varied. The easiest to open was also the one with the least treasures. They had long obtained it. Only the last two treasure rooms were left. One was the treasure room, and the other was the mystic arts. Although the treasures are precious, the mystic arts are more important to our race. Therefore, we must first do our best to seize the legacy room. Chiochika shouted. Don't be confused by the treasures. Those treasures are useful to you, but they are of little use to nurture our descendants. Everything is for our race. Understood, clan elder. Mimbu and Latimer nodded. Understood, third brother. The golden-robed expert, Pooh, AI, nodded as well. All right, Chiochika nodded. We still have a high chance of obtaining both the treasure room and the legacy room. After all, only our race can open them. Pooh AI, Mimbu, and Latimer all nodded. Of course, we can't fight them head-on. The moment we show ourselves, they will join forces against us. Chiochika pointed at the first treasure room, which was also the treasure room they had opened before. This first treasure room is where I plan to make them kill each other. Clan elder, but we've already emptied the first treasure room. Mimba said doubtfully. If we emptied it, we can just put some treasures in there. Chiochika sneered. The treasure chest we obtained from the treasure room is still in my hands. This treasure chest is just a chest. At most, the materials used are expensive. The three treasure chests from back then were left there, but there was nothing inside. They discovered the treasure chest, but they couldn't use godly power to check it and the last words of our ancestors. Right. It would be strange if they didn't kill each other. They definitely thought we were all dead. There's no other life in the tower. They definitely wouldn't be wary. Chiochika nodded. It's not that we're smart. It's just that they didn't expect there to be other Yinji race members alive. Remember, they don't know of our existence. This is our greatest advantage. We can't reveal ourselves until the very last moment. I'll go arrange for the first treasure room now. Chiochika swiftly left the control room and began to arrange. After a while, he returned. Within the control room, the four warriors watched silently. 6 communication talismans. They indeed all have them. The passage to the core region has opened. We need to think of a way to get a talisman. Only then can we open the legacy room and the second treasure room. Ka. The 6 passages shook and started to revolve simultaneously. They revolved slowly and gradually connected with a clear passage before stopping. The passage ahead was completely clear. Core region. Luo Feng carefully folded his wings and entered the passage, after which he leapt out and landed on the ground. It was a vast and spacious hall. Songjin Emperor, Purple Zhong Emperor, and Night Chen Emperor were already standing there. Yang, Tiger, Thorn Emperor landed too. Tiger Thorn and Luo Feng exchanged glances and walked to Night Chen Emperor's side. And Iceblade, Songjin Emperor, and Purple Zhong Emperor stood together. Be careful, we've already entered the core region. Before, we still had to rely on the 6 communication talismans to open the passage. There's no need now. The battle could break out at any time. Night Chen Emperor communicated. Yang, especially you, your undying body is the weakest. That Songjin Emperor is extremely strong. He might make a move against you first. Understood. Luo Feng nodded. Xiao. In the distance, King Ageless Gold, Iceblade, and Purple Bell King instantly turned into 3 streams of light and split into 2. King Ageless Gold flew along a corridor, while Iceblade and Purple Bell King flew along another corridor. Obviously, they were already searching for treasures as fast as they could. Chapter 853. Ash Gold Emperor. Iceblade and Purple Bell Emperor's team swiftly split into 2, following the 2 corridors to search. Ash Gold Emperor is the strongest and fastest. I'll follow him. Night Chen Emperor communicated. Tiger Thorn Emperor, Yang, the 2 of you follow the other corridor. We definitely cannot let Iceblade and Purple Bell Emperor get the treasure. Understood. They're dreaming if they think they can get the treasure. Tiger Thorn Emperor grinned, and Luo Feng, swiftly becoming two beams of light and chasing. Knight Chun Emperor too swiftly followed in Ash Gold Emperor's direction. The two teams split up and chased after him in two different directions. As the entire altar was infused with extremely complicated ancestral law engravings under special usage, the entire space within the altar was sealed, making it impossible to teleport. Hence, the two teams could only rely on their speed to fly. At this time, Luo Feng's advantage was displayed. His silver wings flapped so, within the winding corridors, swiftly changing directions and increasing his speed. Even Tiger Thorn Emperor couldn't catch up. Yang, stop them at the front, distract them. Tiger Thorn Emperor knew his speed couldn't compare to Luo Feng. After all, Luo Feng's strength couldn't compare to theirs. The only reason he was invited was because of this advantage. Relax, leave it to me. Luo Feng's speed continued to rise. As the pathway was within the altar, and the core area was only over 10,000 kilometers in diameter, this dark and winding pathway was over 10,000 kilometers in diameter. It circled around many areas in the core area, some of which were very narrow. It constantly twisted and turned, even to the point where it was close to 180 degrees, causing Luo Feng to have to forcefully slow down to a stop and immediately turn. Under these corridors, the moment one sped up, one had to immediately slow down, accelerating and slowing down again. Every turn was a few km short, up to 100 km long. To an Emperor-level warrior, a single turn was the end of the road. This caused the warriors who were trying their best to speed up to be miserable. Just like on Earth's slums, the many winding alleys, even the best sport car wouldn't be able to reach its top speed in the winding alleys. To these beings that were close to light speed, the shortest turns were a few km long turns, up to 100 km long turns. It was simply torture. The longest turn is only 100 kilometers long. We have to slow down as soon as we accelerate. We can't increase our speed at all. We can only maintain a low speed. King Grayscale roared, his eyes filled with anger. Ha! King Azurgold, your speed is astonishing, but you won't be able to make full use of your advantage in such a narrow place. I'm a member of the Wing Tribe, and I specialize in changing directions. Ha! Oomph. King Ageless snorted and turned to look at King Nocturne. Boom! A bolt of lightning as thick as a water tank burst forth from King Greygold's eyes. As soon as it burst forth, it spread out like countless electric snakes coiling around each other, forming a huge electrical net that enveloped Night King. The passageway was only so wide, so the electrical net completely blocked the entire passageway. Boom! A cold glint flashed in the Night Chun King's golden eyes, and his entire body turned into a beam of white light. He forcibly broke through the net, but it also affected his speed. You want to surpass me? Ha! Night Chin King, you junior are dreaming. I'll always be ahead of you. As long as there's a treasure, I'll definitely be the first to get it. King Azurgold sneered. Occasionally, he would turn and shoot out lightning from his eyes to stop Night Chin King. Night Chin King gritted his teeth, but couldn't do anything. Night Chin King and King Azurgold were in a stalemate. On the other side, Luo Feng was different. He naturally changed directions. Hence, the six warriors couldn't reach their maximum speed. Even Luo Feng couldn't do it. However, Luo Feng's specialization in changing directions gave him a huge advantage. In this peculiar passageway, he was almost 10 times faster than Purple Bell Emperor and Ice Blade. 10 times? What kind of concept was that? In an instant, he caught up, still trying to escape. In Luo Feng's vision appeared two silhouettes, one large and one small. It was Ice Blade and Purple Bell Emperor. He's caught up. Purple Bell Emperor noticed Luo Feng from the corner of his eyes as he turned, shocked. This Yang, he's so fast. It's fine. This Yang is the weakest of the three. He's probably only good at flying in these narrow passageways. Ice Blade said confidently. Purple Bell Emperor, let's see what you can do. I can knock them back with one hit. Purple Bell Emperor said confidently. Luo Feng's speed was too fast. He immediately overtook them from the side. Howl! Purple Bell Emperor opened his mouth, and a howl that could be heard resounded. Simultaneously, that formless, peculiar ripple immediately crashed into Luo Feng. His silver armor blocked the attack of the howl. Fortunately, some of the impact was absorbed by the cloud contact armor within the armor and was blocked. Even though Luo Feng easily blocked it, his speed was still affected. Humph! Luo Feng's silver wings shook fiercely, and he immediately unleashed his 3 beats to travel through universe. Hua! With a burst of speed, he became like a silver light, immediately passing by Purple Bell Emperor and Ice Blade. He was so fast that Purple Bell Emperor couldn't even react. Quick, stop him! Ice Blade said urgently. Purple Bell Emperor, you're the best at stopping. Bastard! Purple Bell Emperor gritted his teeth and roared again. Immediately, a ripple that could be seen with the naked eye formed a large bell. This large bell flew out like lightning. Its attack speed naturally far exceeded Luo Feng's flying speed. This ripple-formed large bell immediately enveloped Luo Feng, and with a violent rumble, it exploded. Luo Feng took the full brunt of the attack. Damn! Luo Feng's body trembled, and his speed decreased. You human, don't even think of getting the treasure. The treasure is mine. Purple Bell Emperor roared and communicated. Rise! Luo Feng's wings shook. Wu Yu's wings were indeed powerful. Even though he was affected before, with just a flap of his wings, he once again flew out, causing Purple Bell Emperor and Ice Blade to be unable to catch up. I know why Night Chin Emperor invited him. This human's flying is too peculiar. His instantaneous speed is too shocking. Even in such a narrow and winding area, he can still be this fast. Ice Blade said, Purple Bell Emperor, you only have this bit of ability. Ha, get the treasure, keep dreaming. Luo Feng communicated. At the same time, he took a turn and entered another bend. Behind, Purple Bell Emperor could no longer be seen with his naked eye. Luo Feng couldn't attack even if he wanted to. Bastard! Chase! Purple Bell Emperor and Ice Blade gritted their teeth as they chased. Within the control room of the altar, the 4 warriors of the Flame Sacrifice Continent were watching the two chase. These alien races are really powerful. The more they fight, the better. It's best if they kill each other. Chiochika looked at the projection and said coldly, this group of alien races, back then it was the 4 pinnacle races that opened up the battlefield and destroyed our race and occupied our home. In the future, we will definitely let them taste what it feels like to be wiped out. Let them taste what it feels like to be wiped out, too. The 4 emperors gritted their teeth. Endless hatred filled their chests. However, they were clear. This was just their wish, an impossible wish. Even if their race was still around back then and was countless times stronger than now, they would still be easily crushed by the pinnacle races. When a hunter kills large amounts of prey, the prey would definitely want revenge. However, if they were afraid of the prey's revenge, then they wouldn't be hunters. This was the survival of the fittest. There were plenty of resources in the universe. However, the trillions of races were terrifyingly large too. Whichever race had more resources would depend on who was stronger. It was a plain survival of the fittest. 2 corridors, the path the 4 of them chose, is the closest to the first treasure room. That silver-winged human is the fastest. He's about to reach the first treasure room. Chiochika said softly. Luo Feng followed the corridors and swiftly observed the many large cabins along the corridors. With one look, he could see that the cabins were all empty, incredibly clean, and without a single thing. HM? Luo Feng saw a corridor ahead. The 100m wide cabin door was half open, and there was an undying's corpse lying at the door. It's an undying from the Flame Sacrifice Continent's aboriginal. It probably suffered a soul attack and died instantly. Luo Feng looked at the location of this cabin. It wasn't as random as the other cabins. This cabin was right in the middle, and the corridor went around it. This caused Luo Feng to slow down and look carefully within. With a glance, there was a translucent platform within, and before it sat a body, cross-legged. With Luo Feng's energy sensing, It should be the body of a fallen, undying. Simultaneously, there were 3 normal book-sized gray chests placed on the platform. This made Luo Feng's eyes gleam. So, Luo Feng's wings shook and he drew an arc, whistling as he rushed into the cabin. The cabin was a few hundred meters long and wide. Luo Feng glanced at the body, sitting cross-legged, and didn't care about it all. His gaze was mainly on the translucent platform in the center that was about 10 m long and wide. The translucent platform was filled with words, and these words were clearly from the human language library. It's the language of the aboriginals of the Flame Sacrifice continent. Luo Feng had long learned everything in the database. With Luo Feng's mental calculation speed, a language could be learned in a few seconds, and he could use it flexibly. This is... Luo Feng looked at the words and immediately understood. The words described, "Our clan is currently facing a calamity. The 3 chests in this treasure room each contain a world ring. The world rings contain large amounts of treasures. We hope our clan's descendants can help our clan rise once more." The treasure chest had a scanning system. Only our own clan members can open it. Other races can't. The crafting is exquisite, using G9 grade metals with origin law engravings to make treasure chests. Luo Feng's gaze swept and saw the dense engravings on the chests. I think forcefully breaking it open requires a universe Knight strength. Just this meticulously crafted chest alone is worth over 10 million mixed elements. As for opening it, who cares? I'll settle it later. Luo Feng let out a smile and casually took the 3 treasure chests. Leave the treasure behind. The ice blade flying outside the cabin sped up fiercely. Looking within the cabin, he gritted his teeth and roared. "The treasure is mine." Purple Bell Emperor's eyes were filled with madness. Even though the 2 of them didn't see the treasure chest, they saw Luo Feng standing in the cabin. With the urgency of searching for the treasure, it's impossible for him to stop at one place. If he stopped at one place, then there's definitely a treasure there that attracted him. Ash Gold Emperor. Yang has acquired the treasure. Ice Blade roared fiercely. The undying god energy was the transmission material. This roar immediately traveled along the pathway. The god energy's speed was shocking, and the pathway Wang Songjin Emperor chose was connected to the pathway Luo Feng's group chose. There was originally a spiral pathway. Treasure. King Changjin, who was entangled in the fight, had a sharp gleam in his eyes. Yang has acquired the treasure? Knight Qin Emperor, however, was delighted. So. The 2 warriors immediately followed the sound and swiftly flew towards the pathway. P.S. 2 chapters completed. Chapter 854. Within the control room of the altar, Chiochika and the other 3 aboriginals were nervously watching everything. Die, it's best if they all kill each other. The Godlord Pu AI said, his eyes staring hard at the projection. Watch carefully, see what these alien invaders have up their sleeves. Chiochika communicated seriously. Even though we are all Emperor level, as we've always been in hiding, we haven't truly fought to the death with the other Emperors. And these alien invaders have always been fighting and killing. We have to watch them fight and learn from their experiences. Also, we know their trump cards. If we want to get the inheritance room and the treasure room's treasures, we can't just rely on schemes and planning. We have to rely on our true strength. Yes, family elder. The other 3 nodded. They had long prepared to fight to the death. This battle would determine whether or not their bloodline would prosper. Within the first treasure room, just as Luo Feng kept the 3 treasure engraved boxes, Purple Zhong Emperor and Ice Blade rushed in with killing intent. This is a portion of the treasures the race left behind when they escaped. It's definitely much more valuable than a normal Emperor-level Undying's entire fortune. Purple Zhong Emperor communicated, Ice Blade, even if we burn our undying bodies, we have to get the treasures. I understand. Ice Blade's eyes were like venomous snakes. Of the 2 of them, Ice Blade was huge and Purple Zhong Emperor was small and skinny. However, in terms of strength, Purple Zhong Emperor was at the pinnacle of Emperor level, while Ice Blade was only at the upper level. The 2 communicated secretly. However, their speed didn't decrease at all as they charged straight into the treasure room. HM. Luo Feng looked at the two Chi-Ho race warriors that charged in. Humph. Luo Feng flipped his hand, and the blood shadow blade appeared. The silver wings on his back were slightly flapping. Cloud contact. Help block them, Luo Feng ordered. Thin vines immediately sprouted from Luo Feng's shoulders. The vines were very thin when they first appeared. However, the moment they extended out, they swiftly expanded. Simultaneously, large amounts of vines and leaves grew out. Like a tidal wave, they rushed towards Purple Zhong Emperor and Iceblade. Although the Cloud Contact Vine was a peak official rank, it was innately tough and had strong regenerative abilities. Its tenacity was comparable to an early-stage Emperor rank Undying Human. Perhaps there was still a huge gap between him and the peak-stage King-ranked Purple Bell King or the high-level King-ranked Iceblade. However, just blocking them was still a very easy task. Blood Cloud, Purple Bell King roared. Hua! Two blood-like flowers emerged from both sides of the Purple Bell King's waist, and as they extended out, they rapidly expanded. The huge flower was like a roof, directly blocking the large number of vines. The vines twisted around and tried to penetrate through the edge of the flower, but the edge of the flower was filled with sharp teeth, and it began to tear at the Cloud-Scraper vines. In terms of offensive ability, the Cloud-Scraper vines were clearly much weaker and could only entangle their opponent. The two of them were equally matched. Support plant life forms are very rare for normal Undyings. Even some of the titled officials have them. It's very common for titled officials to have support plant life forms, but normally they can only be nurtured to the pinnacle of Undyings and titled officials. Luo Feng frowned when he saw this. I didn't expect this Purple Bell Emperor to have a peak official level blood demon flower. Don't even think of escaping. Purple Bell Emperor's ugly face smiled at Luo Feng. Humph. Luo Feng's wings shook, and he immediately became a blurry beam of light, attempting to escape from the 100m wide cabin door. With his escaping ability, being trapped within the cabin was very troublesome. The moment he got out, he would be free to escape. Gagaga! Ear-piercing laughter resounded. A huge blade appeared out of nowhere and slashed at Luo Feng. Break! The glaring silver rainbow was like a river flowing through the sky, immediately slashing apart the huge blade, causing the cabin space to tremble and shatter. However, it quickly recovered. Even though Luo Feng had defeated the opponent, his speed was affected. At this time, a message resounded from outside. Yang, I've come to help you. Tiger, Thorn Emperor. Luo Feng was overjoyed within. Being trapped within the cabin, it was indeed very difficult to escape. However, with Tiger Thorn Emperor helping him, he would be able to fight the opponent head-on, and he would be able to find a chance to escape. Tiger Thorn Emperor. A raging, ear-piercing cry resounded throughout the cabin. That skinny Purple Bell Emperor turned with a ferocious expression. Before him, 3 blazing bells appeared. Every single one of them burned and caused the surrounding space to shatter. After which, the 3 bells simultaneously flew towards Tiger Thorn Emperor, who was wielding 2 terrifying, huge axes. Ha ha! Tiger Thorn Emperor laughed madly. Heaven and earth split open. Tiger Thorn Emperor's left axe protected his body, while his right axe slashed down. This slash, it was as though the skies and earth split apart. The terrifying power caused the entire area to become a chaotic space region. Seeing the axe slash towards the blood demon flowers that were blocking the cabin door, Purple Bell Emperor could only grit his teeth and use the 3 blazing bells to block the axe. Rumble, the huge axe's blade clashed with the 3 blazing bells. The force of impact caused the dense runes on the altar to flicker faintly. Then, it directly withstood the force of impact, and the altar itself was completely undamaged. Iceblade, you and Blood Cloud will work together to stop that human. I'll stop Tiger Thorn Emperor. Purple Bell Emperor roared. Wait, once Ash Gold Emperor arrives, we'll definitely win. We don't need to defeat him. As long as we block the cabin door and don't let him out, we'll definitely win. Leave it to me. Ice Blade roared, while Purple Bell Emperor and Tiger Thorn Emperor were fighting outside the cabin door. Luo Feng and Ice Blade were fighting within. Luo Feng attacked time and again. Even though he was able to suppress Ice Blade wasn't afraid of death. He didn't care about anything else, and only knew to stop Luo Feng. Along with the Blood Demon Flower's help, it really made it impossible for Luo Feng to rush out. Ash Gold Emperor. Purple Bell Emperor, who was struggling to defend, saw a bolt of lightning shooting over and was immediately overjoyed. That bolt of lightning was Ash Gold Emperor. Lightning flashed. Ash Gold Emperor had already arrived. Get lost. The Winged Gold King roared angrily. His roar directly resounded in the Tiger Thorn King's mind. The invisible soul attack was like a tyrannical lightning spear that attacked the Tiger Thorn King's body crazily, destroying the soul imprint in the Tiger Thorn King's immortal divine body. Even though Ash Gold Emperor specialized in body strength amplification and not soul amplification, his soul attack techniques, however, had a little bit of success. Tiger Thorn Emperor's soul trembled. He seemed a little sluggish. Pong! The Songjin King's huge foot stomped on the Tiger Thorn King's skull, causing it to cave in. At the same time, the Tiger Thorn King's body was thrown into the air and smashed into the wall of the corridor not far away. The wall of the altar shook slightly, and some of the engravings on it flickered. Move. Ash Gold Emperor communicated. Understood. Purple Bell Emperor communicated through his soul and ordered the Blood Demon Flowers. Blood Cloud. Let Ash Gold Emperor enter. Heavily blocking the cabin door, the Blood Demon Flowers swiftly opened up a path for Ash Gold Emperor to rush in. Within the cabin, the Blood Demon Flowers and large amounts of cloud contact vines filled the entire cabin. It made the cabin seem like a world of flowers and vines, a world of plants. Human, Ash Gold Emperor rushed in and immediately attacked Luo Feng. Die for me! A true thunder long spear suddenly appeared in Ash Gold Emperor's hands. The long spear was simple and unadorned, with thunder flickering on it. Ash Gold Emperor roared, and his entire body became smaller. However, his entire body glowed with a peculiar green light, almost like a green metal. This scene made Luo Feng's heart palpitate. Body amplification technique. Using this technique would cause the body to change. Right now, Ash Gold Emperor was using this technique. Xiao! Ash Gold Emperor roared and fiercely swung the long spear. All of his energy was infused into the long spear. In such a small area, with the speed of light, Luo Feng couldn't dodge at all. He could only close his wings and protect himself, while Ash Gold Emperor was using his body amplification technique. Chi! The thunder long spear pierced Luo Feng's wings. Luo Feng immediately flew backwards, pinned to the wall of the cabin by the lightning long spear. Accurately speaking, the lightning long spear only pierced Shiwu's wings. It didn't even pierce through a little. However, that terrifying force still pinned Luo Feng to the wall for a short moment. What? Ash Gold Emperor was extremely shocked. It actually didn't destroy his body. His full strength attack, even though he knew it was hard to kill an Emperor level undying. In his eyes, this human Yang was only a high-level Emperor level. Even if he didn't die from his full strength attack, his body should have been blown apart. Yang, I'll hold Ash Gold Emperor back. Night Chin Emperor was like a blur as he charged in. Tiger Thorn Emperor and Purple Bell Emperor once again clashed. Night Chun Emperor! Ash Gold Emperor turned fiercely. His eyes flashed with thunder as he stared angrily at Night Chin Emperor. Even though Luo Feng blocked his attack earlier, Ash Gold Emperor was still clear that the biggest threat in the enemy team was Night Chin Emperor, followed by Tiger Thorn Emperor. Both of them were at the pinnacle of Emperor level. The one with the lowest threat was Yang. Ice Blade, hold Tiger Thorn Emperor back. Ash Gold Emperor ordered. Purple Bell Emperor, even if you burn your undying body, get the treasure. Leave Night Chun Emperor to me. All right. Purple Bell Emperor gritted his teeth and immediately rushed into the cabin. And Ice Blade, too, went to hold Tiger Thorn Emperor back. As for Ash Gold Emperor, he reached out with one hand, and the Thunder Spear landed in it. Ash Gold Emperor's cold gaze landed on Night Chin Emperor. Under the activation of his body technique, Ash Gold Emperor's entire body glowed with a green light. That formless pressure caused Night Chin Emperor's heart to palpitate. He could only carefully watch his opponent. Even if you burn your undying body, you have to get the treasure? Purple Bell Emperor gritted his teeth, his eyes filled with madness. Luo Feng wielded the Blood Shadow Blade and looked at Purple Bell Emperor. Fighting to the point of madness, burning his undying body was the only way. From the looks of it, for the treasure, I'm afraid they'll have to burn their undying bodies. Luo Feng thought within. However, I don't have an undying body. Hand over the treasure, otherwise you'll die. Purple Bell Emperor's eyes were filled with madness. Rumble. The three blazing bells immediately revolved, almost like a miniature star emitting endless light and heat, smashing straight at Luo Feng. P.S. I have to catch a flight tomorrow, so I won't stay up tonight. Chapter 855. The space around the three bells was burnt and melted into countless particles. The three bells revolved and became a huge fireball that smashed at Luo Feng, even controlling the space to pressure him, making him feel like he was stuck in a swamp. Even moving took a lot of energy. That incomparably hot fireball was like a small mountain smashing over. Humph, space manipulation? Luo Feng's wings shook and the silver wings easily tore through the compressed universe space, unleashing the three beats to travel through universe. Xiao, xiao, xiao. Three zigzagging trajectories visible to the naked eye were left in the cabin, causing the combined ultimate attack of the three fire bells to hit nothing but air. With a loud rumble, they smashed into the wall of the cabin, causing the wall that contained the engravings of the mysterious sacrificial runes to tremble slightly. The runes flickered and then calmed down, leaving the wall undamaged. Terrifying speed. Purple Bell Emperor's eyes were filled with shock and rage. Even though he knew this human was extremely fast, when Luo Feng used all his strength to dodge within the cabin, Purple Bell Emperor was still shocked. His spirit weapon attack was actually dodged. Of course, he could also control the three blazing bells to circle around each other and form a combined ultimate move. Under the combined ultimate move, the blazing bells would slow down significantly. However, at close range, ordinary king-ranked experts would not be able to dodge this move with their speed. Purple Bell Emperor, don't waste time. Outside the cabin, the giant Ash Gold Emperor roared. Bastard, let me deal with the toughest bones. Purple Bell Emperor hated within, after which he looked at Luo Feng with a gleam in his eyes, roaring, Human, go and die. Howl. Purple Bell Emperor roared. His entire body exploded with a powerful energy ripple that made all the Undying's hearts tremble, causing the distant Night Chin Emperor, who was fighting desperately against Ash Gold Emperor, to change his expression, igniting the Undying body. Good. Ice Blade, who was being ravaged by Tiger Thorn Emperor's eyes gleamed. Ha! Ash Gold Emperor couldn't help but laugh out loud, igniting the Undying body. Yang is in trouble. Tiger Thorn Emperor was shocked. Yang, be careful. Not only King Grey Gold Ice Blade, Tiger Thorn, and Nighttime King, but even the native experts watching through the control room of the altar held their breaths and muttered, Die, die. Hurry up and die. In the eyes of these native experts, the more these foreign invaders killed each other, the better. In the cabin, under the burning of the immortal body, the Purple Bell King's aura was much stronger than that of the Ash Gold King. Break! Purple Bell Emperor looked coldly at Luo Feng. He ignited his undying energy and infused it into the three fire bells, causing them to become three fireballs. Even though they seemed normal, every one of them was much more terrifying than a star. Every one of them could easily pierce through a star, like a steel ball piercing through tofu. Luo Feng could currently treat stars as toys. However, against these three fireballs, he could only rely on the Wu Killer Wings and armor. When the three fireballs formed a chain and smashed towards him with lightning speed, Luo Feng knew. I can't dodge it. I can only take it head-on. Last time, the three fire bells revolve around each other to form a combined attack, which was slow. And this time, they were coming at him with their fastest speed. And under the burning of the undying energy, the power was raised by 1,000 times. How shocking was the speed! Luo Feng could only close his wings and wrap them around himself. Pong! 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 The first bell became a fireball and smashed into Luo Feng's wings, immediately smashing him into the wall of the cabin. That terrifying force caused the entire cabin to tremble violently. The mysterious sacrificial engravings on the cabin were madly flashing. The entire altar was shaking, obviously trying to absorb the force of the attack. The second fire bell, the third fire bell, it continuously smashed into Luo Feng, who was already stuck to the wall. Rumble. The space within the cabin was completely shattered into particles. The explosion was a mess. The engravings on the walls were constantly flashing, madly suppressing the shock waves. Slowly, the space was restored and everything returned to normal. Ice Blade's little eyes stared wide. His ugly face was completely distorted. Wah! Tiger Thorn Emperor's mouth was wide open. Night Chin Emperor, too, was speechless, his eyes filled with shock and joy. How is this possible? Ash Gold Emperor stopped his attack on Night Chin Emperor, staring at everything. Purple Bell Emperor's expression was complicated, shock, rage, disbelief. On the walls of the cabin, Luo Feng, who was stuck to the wall, slowly slid down and stood on the ground. Looking at Purple Bell Emperor before him, he smiled. I actually didn't blow him up. I burned 3% of my undying body, and it still didn't blow him up? Purple Bell Emperor was stunned. Burning the undying body was burning his soul. If he burned 50% of his undying body, it would be equivalent to losing half of his soul. He wouldn't even be left with 10% of his strength. And if he burned too much of his undying body, he would lose too much of his soul. He wouldn't be able to maintain his consciousness. He might even fall into a deep slumber. God slumbers in their slumber. They would slowly recover their soul. That recovery was very slow and took a very long time. It could take trillions of years, or they might never wake up. Hence, burning the undying body usually only burned within 5%. With such a small loss, it wasn't hard to recover. And when the attack was infused with energy, for example, the control of the three fire bells, just 3% of the undying body's energy was already enough, unless he really didn't want to live. Only then would he completely self-destruct. The self-destruction would have absolute numbers and power, directly blowing the opponent into nothing. Purple Bell Emperor originally thought burning 3% of the undying body would at least blow the opponent's body and cause him to lose 10% to 20% of his undying body. That was normal. However, the result was Luo Feng didn't even lose a wing. Good. Tiger Thorn Emperor was overjoyed. Yang, your life preservation ability is indeed powerful. Don't tell me you have an Emperor Pinnacle plant life protecting you, or an Emperor Pinnacle metal life form protecting you. Night Chin Emperor communicated excitedly. Situations like Luo Feng's were still possible. Emperor Pinnacle plant life and metal life forms. Those plant life and metal life forms naturally had an advantage in terms of physique. If it was an Emperor Pinnacle plant life form, its body far surpassed that of an Emperor Pinnacle human, plus its regeneration ability was strong. It could indeed take that move head-on. Luo Feng just laughed. Night Chin Emperor and Tiger Thorn Emperor didn't ask anymore. Who didn't have a trump card? The trump card of this Yang was most likely the ability to escape and preserve his life. It was just that these abilities were a little too strong. His trump card was truly formidable. We'll definitely get the treasure. Night Chin Emperor communicated excitedly. Hurry and rush out of the cabin. We'll hurry and escape the altar. Once we're out, we'll teleport away and split the treasures. Right, let's hurry and leave. Tiger Thorn Emperor said too. The battle situation had changed. Before, Ash Gold Emperor, Purple Bell Emperor, and Ice Blade had the advantage. The original plan was for Purple Bell Emperor to destroy Luo Feng's body, causing it to completely explode. His weapon and world ring would be thrown out too. Naturally, they could take the chance to get the world ring. The world ring, after all, only held one world. They had plenty of ways to get the treasures within. However now, Ash Gold Emperor, I can't do anything to him. Purple Bell Emperor communicated. Ash Gold Emperor, what do we do? Ice Blade asked anxiously. I didn't expect this unassuming human, the weakest human, to actually have such a powerful move. He definitely has some sort of defensive treasure that doesn't specialize in attacking, or some sort of metal life form, or some other non-life form treasure. Ash Gold Emperor's eyes were red and enraged. Purple Bell Emperor, Ice Blade, you two are really useless, completely useless. I still have to go all out. Ice Blade and Purple Bell Emperor were both enraged. With the treasure in hand, I'll take 70%, Purple Bell Emperor 2, Ice Blade 1. Ash Gold Emperor communicated. Otherwise, I'll be at a huge disadvantage. All right, no problem. Ice Blade and Purple Bell Emperor weren't fools. They understood that with this human Yang's defense, Ash Gold Emperor would probably have to burn his undying body to destroy him. For an Emperor-level warrior like Ash Gold Emperor to burn his undying body, how high would the price be? Asking for 70% was reasonable. Then watch me make a move. Ash Gold Emperor's eyes flashed with lightning. It took a long time to describe. In truth, after Purple Bell Emperor burned his undying body to attack Luo Feng, half a second later, Ash Gold Emperor exploded. Yeah. The green light around Ash Gold Emperor's body expanded. Rumble. A terrifying aura shot up into the sky. The powerful energy caused the surrounding walls to tremble, and the engravings on the walls flickered constantly. This scene caused Luo Feng, Night King, and Ice Blade to be shocked and enraged. Not good. Ash Gold Emperor is going all out. He's burning his undying body. Quickly flee. Including Luo Feng. They were all shocked and furious. Ash Gold Emperor was an Emperor-level warrior. With his body amplification technique, his body could explode with 1,000,000 Sector Lord strength. If he were to explode, it would be even more terrifying than Luo Feng's Sector Lord Emperor army's combined attack. Even if he only burned a little of his undying body, it would still be incredibly terrifying. However, to train to Ash Gold Emperor's level, burning a little of his undying body had a high price. If he wasn't forced into a corner, he wouldn't go all out. Flee! 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 The three warriors on Luo Feng's side were all anxious. No one dared to clash with the mad Ash Gold Emperor. Howl! Ash Gold Emperor let out a low roar. With one step, he reached the closest Night Chen Emperor. What speed! Night Chen Emperor couldn't dodge in time. Rumble! A massive palm, surrounded by lightning, swatted toward Night Chen King's head. With a loud rumble, Night Chen King's entire body was reduced to dust by this violent slap that struck terror into the hearts of all the Regis present. Chapter 856. The shattered powder swiftly formed a winged human warrior, Night Chen Emperor. Night Chen Emperor's energy was extremely weak. This scene shocked Luo Feng, who was about to escape the cabin. From his energy, he could deduce Pale Gold Emperor's immolation attack had caused Night Chen Emperor to lose about half of his undying body, 50%. After losing half of his soul, even though Night Chen Emperor still had 50% of his body, he could only unleash 10% of his full power. The soul was indeed very important. Pale Gold Emperor, don't force me. Night Chen Emperor, who had just reformed his body, was filled with madness. He stared hard at Pale Gold Emperor and communicated. Right now, Pale Gold Emperor was in his strongest state. Even if Night Chen Emperor burned his undying body, he wouldn't be able to escape. He could only hope that Pale Gold Emperor would spare his life. If you force me, Night Chen Emperor stared at Pale Gold Emperor. Self-destruct? Haha, self-destruct. Do you think I'll be afraid? My undying body won't be damaged by your self-destruction. Haha, I've already destroyed half of your undying body. If I destroy the other half, you'll die. Why should I let you go? Die. Pale Gold Emperor didn't show any mercy. Remember, remember, I'll be back for revenge. Night Chin Emperor roared. Explode, explode, explode. Night Chin Emperor roared. The remaining 50% of his deathless body exploded. King Greygold's attack had destroyed half of his deathless body, but that was because King Greygold's deathless god power and Nightstar King's deathless body had destroyed each other. That was why the explosion hadn't been too terrifying. Pale Gold Emperor could take it alone, but no one was that stupid. Pale Gold Emperor only had one choice: to retreat. Rumble, an Emperor Pinnacle warrior's self-destruction was so powerful that it made the others, other than Song Jin Emperor, Purple Zhong Emperor, Ice Blade Emperor, Tiger Thorn Emperor, and Luo Feng, all shocked and furious. An emperor's self-destruction. It was comparable to a million Sector Lord armies' combined attack. It could kill an emperor's high level, heavily injuring an emperor's peak. It could even cause an emperor's peak to fall. Of course, that depended on luck. Although, Night Shin King only had 50% of his immortal divine body left, but he still had half of the power of a perfect king-ranked divine king's self-destruction. Unlike King Greygold's attack, which had destroyed each other, Night Shin King's self-destruction had caused shockwaves to spread in all directions. In a self-destruction situation, there was no way to control the direction of the attack. A self-destruction meant the death of a god, and the shockwaves spread in all directions. No, the expression of Ice Blade that had been pestering the Tiger Thorn King completely changed. King Ageless Gold, you've harmed me. The Ice Blades fled in terror. Bam! A powerful shockwave instantly struck his body. The high-level Regis Godfiend's Ice Blade instantly turned into dust in the face of this shockwave. Even the dust was destroyed. Nightlife King, even if you die, you have to drag me down with you. Tiger Thorn King was so frightened that he rushed into the cabin. Pung! The shockwave was like an endless flood that rushed through the Tiger Thorn King. The armor on the surface of the Tiger Thorn King's body flickered, and then his entire body completely exploded. However, after that, he once again condensed into a single body. Pung! The shockwave struck the Purple Bell King's body. The Purple Bell King gritted his teeth, and the surface of his body flickered with a hazy bell silhouette. He forcefully resisted some of the shockwave, but after a rumble, his body completely disintegrated into a single body. Pung! Luo Feng's wings closed, and he once again forcefully resisted this attack. King Greygold, Purple Bell King, Ice Blade, Tiger Thorn King, and Luo Feng all suffered the full range of the Nightlife King's self-destruction attack. They were either unharmed, injured, or dead. It wasn't just the 5 of them. Even the altar couldn't remain as stable as before under the self-destruction of the king-ranked Godfiend. The walls of the altar's corridors and the cabin's walls flickered continuously, and then with a rumble, they completely shattered. Even the walls were shattered, and the shockwaves spread in all directions. Every layer of the wall flickered and trembled, and then shattered. However, after continuously breaking through layer after layer, the power of the shockwave weakened and finally calmed down. A diameter of 60 kilometers, a complete spherical area, was completely reduced to rubble. The altar itself was a special rule weapon made of some F-class metals. Just like how many weapons could expand or shrink, the altar could also expand or shrink. However, it was a bit similar to weapons like the Divine Base or the Star Fortress, and the degree of defense in different areas was also different. For example, the Inheritance Chamber and the Second Treasure Chamber were the 2 most important chambers, and they had the strongest defenses. And the entire outer layer of the core area, it too had the strongest defense. As for the many cabin walls within, they were cheaper to build. Even with the help of the mysterious sacrificial engravings, under Nightlife King's self-destruction attack, it still destroyed a diameter of 60 kilometers silence. Within the altar, the rubble was silent. Luo Feng and Tiger Thorn King exchanged glances and exchanged glances. Nightlife King's self-destruction actually caused me to lose 6% of my undying body. What a loss. Tiger Thorn King communicated. However, Yang, we're in trouble. With Nightlife King's death, our side's strength has been greatly reduced, even though we've lost Iceblade. However, that Iceblade was only a high-level Emperor. With him gone, it doesn't affect Ash Gold Emperor and Purple Bell Emperor at all. It's a pity about Nightlife King. Luo Feng communicated. What's there to pity about? Isn't he human? You humans place great importance on the undying Emperor-level warriors. Even if they fall, they'll be able to reverse time and space and revive. Tiger Thorn King communicated. It's a pity I don't have that fortune. Even though I'm a member of the Great Alliance, for me to get that chance, I'll have to earn more military merits and raise my position. Luo Feng sighed within. The Universe Lord-level beings had unbelievable powers. They could directly reverse time and space to the point where their targets hadn't died. Reversing time and space to revive warriors. The pinnacle of humanity. The creator of the huge axe. The primal chaos city leader. The dragon travel leader. The void gold leader. At some point in time, they would unite and revive large amounts of humanity's warriors. Those who were resurrected were either very powerful, or had made great contributions, or had teachers and other people who had helped them to collect items. However, reviving didn't come without a price. The Universe Lord and the others had to pay a very small price to revive someone like Nightlife King. But the so-called very small price was relative to the Lord of the Universe. The Universe Lord wouldn't allow himself to be at a disadvantage. The price had to be paid by the revived warriors themselves, either by fighting for humanity or stealing treasures for humanity. Pitiful Nightlife King. Even if he's revived, he'll probably be fighting for humanity for a very long time. Luo Feng thought. However, to be revived is already very lucky. The other alien races, some of them don't even have a Universe Lord-level being. Even the alien races that joined the Great Alliance have to meet the requirements and pay a higher price to revive than the humans. No one wanted to die. The stronger one was, the higher the price to be paid. The primal Chaos City leader once said that reviving the Universe Lords would cause him to suffer heavy injuries from the Universe laws. If he were to revive Hiroto or Tian Shur Palace leader, those tyrants, the primal Chaos City leader, would die from the Universe laws. One had to know that the primal Chaos City leader was much stronger than Hiroto and the others, yet he died from reviving Hiroto. Obviously, the strength of the backlash was terrifying. Nightlife King was revived in the distant future. One could only imagine the price he had to pay. Ageless Emperor, that Nightlife King was about to escape. Why did you force him to his death? Purple Zhong Emperor was both anxious and furious. Even Iceblade died because of this. Iceblade was also a member of the Chiwu race. As someone from the same race, even though Purple Zhong Emperor didn't think much of Iceblade, Iceblade had always been with him. Plus, they were from the same race. They naturally trusted each other. I was also injured from that Nightlife King's self-destruction. Purple Zhong Emperor raged. And humanity is one of the 4 pinnacle races. With such a great universe lord among them, one day in the future, that Nightlife King may very well revive again. Shut up. Ageless Gold Emperor communicated. When will he revive? Even if he revives, he's still no match for me. All I know is if I kill him, I'll get his riches. With a wave of his hand, King Ageless put away the world rings and items left behind by Nightchen King and Bingren after their deaths. Don't let that human escape. Ageless Gold Emperor roared. Xiao! In the distance, Luo Feng's wings flapped, and he unleashed his 3 vibrations to travel through the universe. His speed shot up, and he entered a distant corridor like lightning. Don't even think of escaping. Ageless Gold Emperor chased from behind. Humph! Purple Zhong Emperor chased from behind, too. The Tiger Thorn King stood in midair and watched this scene silently. Then, he sneered and thought to himself, for the sake of the treasures of the sacrificial pagoda, he has already gone crazy. If he doesn't die, he will burn his immortal god body. If that Songjin King is mad, I'd better hide. If I go, I will just die. The Tiger Thorn King flew along another corridor. Altar Core Control Room. Race Elder Chiochika God Lord Pu Ai, Min Bu, and Latimer. These four aboriginals were all staring at the holographic projection. When they saw Nightlife King's self-destruct, injuring the other warriors and killing Iceblade, the aboriginals all revealed expressions of glee. Look, the communication talisman. It's the communication talisman. Nightlife King and Iceblade had fallen. The communication talisman that had entered their bodies had indeed fallen into the ruins. Go, all of you hurry up and leave. You alien invaders, leave behind your communication talismans. Race Elder Chio Chica waited silently. However, who would have thought that ageless Gold Emperor would wave his hand and take away all the items of the two fallen, undying emperors, including the communication talismans? This caused Chio Chica and the rest's expressions to change. They're escaping towards the altar. They've brought the communication talismans with them. God Lord Pu Ai communicated anxiously. Third brother, the moment they escape and teleport away, we won't be able to open the inheritance room anymore. Race Elder Chio Chica gritted his teeth and replied, "Listen to my orders." Pu Ai, Min Bu, and Latimer's eyes gleamed. They listened to the elder's orders. They knew they had to act. While update complete, from tomorrow onwards, everything will return to normal. I'll be able to write 2 chapters by the time I get home. Tomato is very proud. Hee. I'll ask for monthly votes and recommendation votes in the last few days of the month. Especially recommendation votes. Monday, I really need recommendation votes. Chapter 857. When Chio Chica, Pu Ai, and the other aboriginals began to move, Luo Feng, Ash Gold Emperor, and Purple Bell Emperor were in a frenzied state. Flee, flee, flee. Luo Feng's wings flapped like a ghost. He flew through the twisting corridors. This Ash Gold Emperor is too strong. Emperor level. This is the limit. His strength far exceeds the pinnacle. Even Night Chin Emperor's self-destruction wouldn't be able to harm him. Luo Feng was extremely anxious within. My Emperor Bug Army combined can't do anything to him. If we clash head-on, as long as he burns some of his undying energy, he'll be able to kill my Earth body. The moment my Earth body falls, then it'll be troublesome. This altar pathway is simply too small. The Golden Horned Beast has no way to come out and fight. The Golden Horned Beast's strength was much stronger than the Earth body. It was a pity the space within the tower was too small. It wasn't suitable for it. Human, don't run anymore. Give up. King Grey Gold roared as he chased relentlessly. Rumble, rumble. His eyes occasionally shot out thick bolts of lightning. Within the corridor, the lightning's speed naturally far exceeded Luo Feng's. The moment the lightning struck Luo Feng, it transformed into countless lightning snakes that formed a net, almost as though it was tied up by countless ropes, greatly affecting Luo Feng's speed. After struggling with all his might to break free, King Songjin's second wave of obstruction arrived. One bolt of lightning after another. Luo Feng was extremely miserable. If it wasn't for this corridor environment, I would have long distanced myself from him. As long as I'm far enough, the lightning wouldn't even be able to touch me. Luo Feng's wings flapped, struggling to escape. He can really escape. Ash Gold Emperor 2 was chasing with all his might. He had been obstructing Luo Feng the entire time, yet he could only maintain his distance. This made Ash Gold Emperor very sad. One of them chased, and the other fled, and the Purple Bell King who was behind King Ageless Gold was also chasing. King Ageless is truly vicious and merciless. He borrowed Nightstar King's hand to kill Bing Run. Purple Bell Emperor's eyes gleamed coldly. Me, Iceblade, and Ash Gold Emperor are all automaton camp. We don't dare kill each other. The moment we do, especially when we're teleported to the virtual world, we'll be hunted down by the automaton camp. We won't even be able to escape. Hence, even if King Grey Gold wants to take the treasure for himself, he wouldn't dare to do it himself. Now that Iceblade has fallen, he's actually using someone else to do his dirty work. Purple Bell King was filled with hatred. No matter what, he can only kill with a borrowed knife. He wouldn't dare to directly deal with his comrades. Moreover, I'm not an Iceblade. Even if the Tiger Thorn King and the others self-destruct, I won't die. King Changjin, you want to take all the treasures for yourself? Oomph. Ideas flashed through Purple Bell King's mind. Being comrades in the same camp did not mean that they had a good relationship. It was only because of the military rules that they did not dare to kill each other. Violating military rules. Not only would the super powerhouses of the machine race take action, but even the super powerhouses of King Greygold's own race would take action to kill King Greygold. Luo Feng, Ash Gold Emperor, and Purple Bell Emperor followed the pathway and fled, each with their own plans. Up ahead is the exit of the core region. Luo Feng used all his strength to escape. Shua. Following a blur, Luo Feng arrived at the exit of the core region. The 6 pathways were still open. However, what shocked Luo Feng was at the exit floated a purple-armored, 6-armed strong foreign race, Undying. He was emitting waves of god energy ripples, completely blocking the exit. A native of the flame, sacrifice continent? Luo Feng was shocked as he looked at him. At this time, he couldn't care less. Move aside, Luo Feng roared and was about to rush out. Voila! This 6-armed strong foreign race, Undying's arms suddenly grew larger and larger, actually blocking the 6 pathways. When Luo Feng rushed towards one pathway, one of the arms was definitely able to hold out against 10,000 enemies. That huge palm immediately slapped Luo Feng away. Haha, a native of the flame sacrifice continent? Thank you. King Greygold laughed loudly as he appeared, communicating. So, Purple Bell Emperor appeared too. Luo Feng, Songjin Emperor, and Purple Zhong Emperor were all standing on the ground, while the Yinji continent native blocked all 6 exits. His strength was at the pinnacle of Emperor level. Luo Feng might have the advantage in terms of speed, but if he wanted to force his way out, his strength was indeed far behind. Yang, who is this? In the distance, a beam of light flew over. It was Tiger Thorn Emperor who was flying along another pathway. Tiger Thorn Emperor landed and looked shocked at the native. Native? Luo Feng, Ash Gold Emperor, Purple Bell Emperor, and Tiger Thorn Emperor. These 4 warriors exchanged glances and then looked at the native. You remnant of the flame sacrifice continent. After escaping the calamity back then, you still dare to show yourself? King Greygold roared. The 4 warriors all knew that if they discovered any remnant of the flame sacrifice continent, they could report it. However, the army didn't have such a requirement. Maybe the matter of chasing and killing them. The army had never treated this as the responsibility of these warriors. And the altar was related to the treasures. King Greygold and Purple Bell Emperor didn't want to attract more warriors. Enemies of the other races. The native floating there was chubby, but his smile was terrifying. I really want you all to die, but since you all want to escape this altar, I have no choice but to show myself. Let me introduce myself. I am a survivor of the flame sacrifice continent, Chica. Back then, when the continent was destroyed, I was just a normal Undying. Countless years have passed, and even though I've been lonely, it's also given me great power. You've been here all this time? King Greygold, Purple Bell Emperor, Tiger Thorn Emperor, and Luo Feng were all shocked. Yes, I've been watching your every move from within the altar. The native Chica smiled, but his smile was so creepy that it sent chills down one's spine. Originally, I wanted to set up a trap for you to kill each other. You foreign races destroyed my people back then, so today, the more you die, the better. But I want the communication talisman more. I didn't expect you to actually take the 2 fallen warriors' talismans. Chica pointed at King Greygold. King Greygold frowned. This aboriginal actually knew he took the talismans. Looks like he really was monitoring the entire altar. What do you want the talismans for? King Greygold shouted. You said your plot. Luo Feng frowned. Don't tell me the treasure room. Purple Bell Emperor, Tiger Thorn Emperor, and King Greygold Emperor were all shocked. Smart. The native Chica praised. You foreign races finally have a smart punk. Ha! I've been in the altar for a long time. The treasure room has always been open. If there really were any treasures, I would have taken them long ago. I wouldn't have waited for you guys to take them. Those 3 treasure chests are just empty chests. Anyway, you guys have no way of probing them. They're just tools to make you kill each other. What? Empty chests? For the empty chests, Knight, Chun, Emperor, and Iceblade, the 2 emperors died. Tiger, Thorn Emperor roared. King Greygold, Purple Bell Emperor, and Luo Foam were all shocked. For the treasures, everyone had gone all out. King Greygold, Tiger Thorn, and Purple Bell Emperor were all injured, losing some of their undying bodies. Human. The aboriginal Chio Chica looked at Luo Foam. When you got the 3 treasure chests, you should have seen the contents. It clearly stated that only our own race can open the chests. I naturally opened them long ago and got a portion of the treasures, leaving the empty chest to trap you guys. There was indeed such a text. Luo Foam and Purple Bell Emperor creased their eyebrows. Purple Bell Emperor, did you see the text? King Greygold communicated. Purple Bell Emperor replied, yes, there was indeed such a text. And when we discovered the cabin, the door to the treasure room was open. And this aboriginal knows our every move like the back of his hand. Obviously, he's been monitoring us. To be able to monitor us, he definitely knew the treasure room was open. Even if there were treasures, he would have taken them long ago. King Greygold agreed with this point. If you don't believe me, you can take out one of the treasure chests, and I'll open it for you guys to see. The aboriginal Chio Chica laughed. Young, take out your treasure chest. King Greygold looked at Luo Foam. Take it out, Purple Bell Emperor said. Luo Foam frowned. However, he still flipped his hand and took out one of the chests. This chest was covered in complicated engravings. Even brute force wouldn't be able to open it. Luo Foam casually threw it over. The aboriginal Chio Chica received it and touched the sides of the chest. With a click, he opened the lid. King Greygold, Purple Bell Emperor, Luo Foam, and Tiger Thorn Emperor all stared hard. The chest was empty. There was nothing inside. Empty treasure chest. King Greygold's eyes were filled with rage. He roared. Bastard. He had even burned some of his undying body. Only now did he realize that the chest he fought for was empty. Even though the materials in the chest were valuable, they weren't even worth mentioning in his eyes. What he wanted was the treasure trove left behind by the aboriginals of the Sacrifice Flame continent when they were escaping. Ha! The aboriginal Chio Chica laughed loudly. If it wasn't for this human escaping so quickly and leaving the core region, I wouldn't have shown myself. You guys kill each other. The more vicious, the better. If you didn't show yourself, we wouldn't have known you were here. Why did you show yourself? King Greygold said solemnly. Luo Foam, Purple Bell Emperor, and Tiger Thorn Emperor stared at the aboriginal. The aboriginal Chio Chica looked at King Greygold and the other warriors with disgust. You foreign races, if it wasn't for the true treasure within the altar, I wouldn't even bother with you. The true treasure? Luo Foam was shocked within. King Greygold and Purple Bell Emperor were stunned too. Haha, you can't be thinking that a treasure trove room that even an emperor-level pinnacle could destroy will be hiding the true treasure, right? The aboriginal Chio Chica sneered. You can't be thinking that after obtaining the treasure, I would still waste time with you and play with my life, right? Luo Foam, King Greygold, Purple Bell Emperor, and Tiger Thorn Emperor were all shocked. The protection of the inherited treasure trove room was so weak. The treasure trove is obviously hidden. The aboriginal Chio Chica said coldly. The open room is the one you see. There are indeed treasures within the treasure chest, but they're very ordinary. And hidden in the dark is the true treasure trove of the race. The open treasure trove, as long as you're from my race, you can open it. However, the hidden treasure trove, not only do you have to be from your race, you also have to carry a communication talisman to open it. Having a communication talisman is a symbol of status. Without it, you have no right to open it. The aboriginal Chio Chica said. Back when my race fled, the knights in the universe were worried that the normal people would be soul-controlled. Hence, only those with communication talismans can open the treasure trove. And those with communication talismans are all emperor-level beings. To soul control an emperor is a very difficult thing. Luo Feng, King Greygold, Purple Bell Emperor, and Tiger Thorn Emperor nodded as they heard. They had to admit, the Aboriginals' words were very logical. Everything was logical. If you all leave, I'll never be able to get the true treasure trove. Without the communication talisman, I can't open it. However, without me, you foreign races won't be able to open it even with the communication talisman. The Aboriginal Chio Chika looked at Luo Feng and the others. My request is very simple. I want half of the treasure trove. Chapter 858. At the entrance of the core region of the altar, the native elder Chio Chika spoke with confidence, revealing the secret of the treasure within the altar. Fake treasure and real treasure. Luo Feng pondered. One had to admit, this Chio Chika's words sounded very real. The treasure chest I got before was empty, plus he could clearly sense our movements. Without a doubt, this native has long been within the altar. This is confirmed. There are two possibilities. The first, this Chio Chika really wants the treasure within the altar, and the treasure requires the talisman. Hence he came to us to work together. The second, everything was made up by him. That treasure room was the real treasure room. He had it long ago. However, back then his race was wiped out. Hence this Chio Chika has a huge hatred for us other races. He purposely made us kill each other before. Now that we are leaving, he's trying to delay us. It's very likely that he has another plan to take revenge on us. Luo Feng thought, a survivor of a race that was wiped out. If Earth was wiped out, or humanity was wiped out, Luo Feng too thought he would madly take revenge on his enemies. Does he want the treasure or revenge? Luo Feng hesitated. Song Jin Emperor, Purple Zhong Emperor, and Tiger Thorn Emperor were hesitating too. Song Jin Emperor, do you think this native is speaking the truth? Purple Zhong Emperor communicated. Half of it could be true, the other half could be fake. Song Jin Emperor communicated. Nonsense. The Purple Bell King could not help but think. What do we do? Purple Zhong Emperor said. I have to get the treasure. Song Jin Emperor's eyes were filled with ferocity. He had already ignited his undying body. Even though he had gotten some of Ice Blade and Night Shin Emperor's wealth, that little bit of wealth wasn't enough to satisfy an Emperor-level warrior. He only had one goal, the altar's treasure. If he didn't get it, he wouldn't be satisfied. Then I'll listen to you. I believe with you around. Even if the Yin-Ji continent survivors have any plans, they won't succeed. Purple Zhong Emperor said. Haha, before the true difference in strength, all schemes are useless. Song Jin Emperor said confidently. Don't worry. After we get the altar's treasure, I'll follow the agreement and give you 20%. Thank you, King Songjin. Purple Bell King's heart was filled with hatred. Previously, they had agreed to split the loot 7-2-1. Now that Ice Blade was dead, King Ageless naturally took 80% of the loot. Elder Chiochika looked at the expressions of the four and laughed coldly within. If it wasn't for you all fleeing so quickly, I would only have enough time to pass through a secret passage from the control room to the exit of the core region. I wouldn't have needed to take the risk. Before, Luo Feng and the other three were split into two groups. The other group was Luo Feng, Songjin Emperor, and Purple Bell Emperor, chasing. The first batch was the Tiger Thorn King alone. The two groups rushed towards the exit of the core zone through different corridors. Chiochika was in the core control room at that time. There was a direct passage from the core control room to the exit of the core zone. What Chiochika wanted to do the most was to stop the Tiger Thorn King by himself and kill the Tiger Thorn King with the help of the four natives to obtain the message talisman. Unfortunately, there was no suitable path to stop the Tiger Thorn King, so he could only take the risk. Greed, ambition, and desire are things that experts cannot erase. Chiochika looked at the expressions of the four experts and felt relieved. Everyone, have you made your decision? Chiochika said solemnly. Below, Songjin Emperor, Purple Bell Emperor, Luo Feng, and Tiger Thorn Emperor exchanged glances. Even though Luo Feng was being chased before, since the treasure was confirmed to be fake, Songjin Emperor and Purple Bell Emperor wouldn't waste any more time with Luo Feng. These warriors wouldn't do anything without benefits. Good. I believe you. Song Jin Emperor's voice rumbled, his eyes like lightning. Chica, don't do anything stupid. Purple Bell Emperor laughed coldly. I'll believe you for now, too. Let's make a trip. Tiger Thorn Emperor looked at Luo Feng. The two exchanged glances and nodded. With Night Chun Emperor dead, the two of them would have to support each other. Even though Song Jin Emperor was intrepid, Luo Feng's defense was heavenly, and Tiger Thorn Emperor was an Emperor Pinnacle. If they really fought, even if Song Jin Emperor killed Luo Feng and Tiger Thorn Emperor, he would have to pay more than 10% of his undying body. This price was too high. As long as we are careful and don't take too much, that Song Jin Emperor won't go crazy. Losing less than 5% of his undying body is still easy to recover. However, exceeding 5% would be troublesome. Exceeding 10% would be even more troublesome. Tiger Thorn Emperor communicated. You and I are together. The moment we fight, we'll work together. Luo Feng communicated. The four warriors all agreed. Elder Chica laughed. Indeed, they all want the treasure. However, I said before, I'll take half. We've also said we agree. Song Jin Emperor said seriously. Purple Bell Emperor, Tiger Thorn Emperor, and Luo Feng all nodded. Within, Song Jin Emperor and the others laughed coldly. Half. It was just a verbal agreement. Against these foreign race enemies, they would naturally do anything. When the treasure is truly opened, naturally they would go all out to snatch it. This aborigine probably has some trump cards. Luo Feng and the others understood this point. However, for the treasure, and with such an advantage in strength, no one would give it up. Follow me. Chica immediately flew ahead. Wait a moment. Song Jin Emperor ordered. Chica suddenly stopped and looked suspiciously at Song Jin Emperor. Song Jin Emperor, however, flashed coldly and stood in front of Chica, simultaneously ordering, for the sake of mutual trust, you aborigine, stay in the middle of the four of us. Shwa, shwa, shwa. Purple Bell Emperor, Tiger Thorn Emperor, and Luo Feng all stood around Chica, surrounding him. He's so strong and yet so cowardly. Chica laughed. This is called being careful. Warriors who aren't careful would have fallen long ago. Song Jin Emperor said coldly. Then let's go. I'll lead the way. Chica said, follow this corridor on the left. Immediately, this mixed team formed by Chica and the four warriors began to enter the altar. Under Chica's guidance, Luo Feng and the others did indeed discover a few hidden passages. They only needed to push open a few seemingly tight walls, and they would be able to push open a door. Behind the door was the passage. Altar Core Control Room. Lord Pu AI, Latimer, and Menbu all held their breaths nervously as they watched the projection. The elder, Menbu gripped his fists tightly, his eyes filled with worry and nervousness. Third brother is putting himself in danger for the sake of the clan. Lord Pu AI said seriously. Right now, the other invaders are already following the elder's plan. The plan is half a success. This time, no matter what price we have to pay, we have to get the treasures. Latimer and Menbu nodded. Let's see. Lord Pu AI said slowly. Let's see if third brother can succeed. After all, these invaders are all extremely careful and smart, and their strengths are also very strong. To succeed, half of it depends on third brother and the other half on luck. Along a dark inner passageway, Song Jin Emperor and the other three warriors surrounded the elder Chica in the middle and carefully entered the passage. The further they went, the brighter the passage became. After a while, Luo Feng and the others arrived at a bright hall. Where do we go next? Song Jin Emperor shouted. We're here. Chica's eyes were filled with passion. We're here. Luo Feng couldn't help but look around curiously. This huge hall had a diameter of over 10 kilometers. However, the walls were incredibly smooth. There were only a few complicated sacrificial engravings. There was no way to see any hidden treasures. Humph. Even if you're in front of the treasure room, you won't be able to find it. Chica sneered. Even if you find the treasure room, you won't be able to open it. Where's the treasure room? Songjin Emperor raged. Luo Feng and the others looked at Chica. Chica, however, calmly walked towards the distant wall. Luo Feng and the other warriors naturally didn't dare to stray too far, in case Chica set a trap for them. On the smooth wall, Chica took a deep breath, chanting within, "Countless of my clansmen have died. I've allowed them to enter the treasure room for the sake of the clan's prosperity. My clansmen, forgive me." After which, he extended his 6 palms and simultaneously placed them on the sacrificial engravings on the wall. The engravings immediately lit up, and a rumbling sound could be heard. Luo Feng turned to look. The wall that was originally like a hole began to slowly open up, revealing a passage that was only 10 meters wide. "The treasure room is inside," Chica said. "Very good. This way everyone can work together. Isn't that good?" Songjin Emperor laughed loudly. However, he still remained cautious, and the 4 warriors surrounded Chica as they walked towards the pathway. The pathway was only 100 m long. At the end was a golden door. The entire door's engravings were even more profound, and the energy emanated. "This is a G-grade metal?" "It's a G-grade metal. Other than the treasure chest, this is the first time we've seen a G-grade metal in the altar. And it's an entire door made out of G-grade metal. Just this door alone, it's probably worth a few 100 million yuan units." Purple Zhong Emperor laughed softly. Beside him, Songjin Emperor was full of smiles too. Just the door alone was that expensive. Looks like Chica's words could very well be true. The treasures within the door would definitely be shocking. Burning some of my undying body, worth it, it's definitely worth it. Songjin Emperor couldn't help but feel excited within. Luo Feng, too, quietly observed everything. No matter what, with Wu Yu's wings and silver armor, he had confidence in escaping with his life. Naturally, he wouldn't easily give up on the treasure. Attention all, to open the door to the treasure room. 1. You have to have the communication talisman. 2. You have to be from my clan. Chica said coldly, "Just give me the communication talisman and let me open the treasure room." P.S. The 2nd chapter is up. There's still the 3rd chapter today. Chapter 859. Give Chica the message. Songjin Emperor, Luo Feng, and the other warriors looked at each other. If the message fell into Chica's hands, it would be troublesome to get it back. Seeing this scene, clan elder Chica snorted and sneered. "You guys are experts after all. You want the treasure, but you don't want to give me the message talisman. Haha, dream on. If you don't want to give it to me, then don't give it to me. I don't have the ability to take it by force either. However, without the message, I can't open the door." Songjin Emperor ordered softly. "Purple Zhong Emperor, go and try. See if you can open the door." Purple Zhong Emperor was unhappy within, but on the surface, he still nodded. "All right." Luo Feng and Tiger Thorn Emperor stood at the side and watched silently. Purple Bell Emperor walked to the golden, glowing door and used both his hands to touch the door, trying to push it with force. Infusing his undying energy, the talisman floated in his palm as he tried to touch the door. He tried every method he could think of to open the door. Purple Zhong Emperor frowned as he tried. However, he kept failing. This made Songjin Emperor's expression turn ugly. He couldn't help but look at the elder Chica. Chica only laughed coldly at this scene and laughed softly. "You want to get the treasure without me? Dream on. Go ahead and try. You other races want to open my race's treasure? You must be dreaming." Chica didn't hide his laughter at all. Everyone present heard it. "Shut up," Songjin Emperor shouted. The elder Chica glanced at him and didn't say anything. Songjin Emperor turned to Purple Zhong Emperor, who was still trying, and shouted, "Since you can't open it, stop trying." Purple Zhong Emperor was unhappy within, but he obediently walked back and said, "Looks like only the aboriginals can open the Yinji continent race's treasure. Chica, you are an emperor too? Not an idiot. Don't play any tricks." Songjin Emperor said solemnly. Chiochika glanced at him and didn't say anything. Here, King Chongjin threw a communication talisman to Chiochika. Chiochika took the translucent triangular communication talisman. His trembling hands couldn't hide his excitement. The talisman was successfully recognized as its owner. Chiochika's eyes were wet as he screamed in his heart, my people, I finally got the talisman." Buzz. When the Chiochi card fused with the message talisman and successfully recognized its master, the entire altar connected to the Chiochi card as if it had a life of its own. "Master," a voice sounded in Chiochika's consciousness. "Sacrificial tower." Chiochika was excited. Yes, this altar was actually a mobile survival base that could fly, just like a star fortress. It contained intelligence. The altar's AI would control the entire altar. Different Yinji continent residents would have different levels of authority. Normal clansmen, undying clansmen, clansmen with talismans, their authority would be higher and higher. Before this, Chiochika and the others could only monitor some low-level activities in the control room. But now, Chiochika had become the owner of the entire altar. Only Yinji continent natives who fused with the talisman would be recognized by the entire altar. Only those who fused with the talisman would be considered leaders and the true controller of the altar. Back then, when the 6 leaders died, the entire altar was like a piece of scrap metal. It couldn't fly at all. Altar, the core control room. Lord God Pu AI, Latimer, and Minbu were all watching. Especially when they saw Chiochika fuse with the talisman, they were all excited. Minbu was so excited that he started crying. "Pu AI, Latimer, Minbu, I'm halfway there," a voice sounded in the control room. "Third brother," Pu AI shouted excitedly. Clan Elder, Minbu and Latimer shouted excitedly. "You could talk to us? I'm now the controller of the altar. I can communicate with the altar's AI consciousness. Naturally, my voice can be heard anywhere in the altar. Now, I'm going to take the most important step. Dear clansmen, please bless me for success. And also bless us, a race full of calamities, to obtain the most important inheritance." Chiochika's voice was filled with nervousness and excitement. In front of the treasure trove. "Hurry up and open the treasure trove." Ashgold Emperor frowned and shouted. Luo Feng too carefully observed Chiochika. However, from the outside, he couldn't tell that Chiochika had already become the master of the altar. "Ha ha ha! How many years has it been? How many years has it been? I can finally obtain the clan's treasure trove." Chiochika sneered and looked at Ashgold Emperor. "You and I are working together. Don't be too arrogant." "Humph." Ashgold Emperor snorted coldly, looking coldly at Chiochika. "I'll let you be arrogant for a while. I'll open the treasure trove." Chiochika immediately walked towards the treasure trove. Purple Zhong Emperor followed. Luo Feng, Tiger Thorn Emperor, and Ash Gold Emperor too followed Chiochika. They definitely wouldn't stray too far away. Chiochika's lips curled into a smile of disdain. He walked straight to the door and extended his palm to gently touch the door. The engravings on the door lit up. There was a reaction. Ash Gold Emperor and Purple Zhong Emperor immediately revealed looks of excitement. However, even though there was a reaction, the door remained shut. "What's going on?" Ash Gold Emperor couldn't help but shout. "Bring me another message talisman." Chiochika turned and shouted. "To open the door to the treasure trove, you'll need to. Why didn't you tell me earlier?" Ash Gold Emperor frowned. "I wasn't the leader back then. Only the 6 leaders knew all the secrets of the altar. I only knew that the true treasure trove, the clan members had to use the talisman to open it. I only knew this. As for the clan members needing 2 talismans to open the treasure trove, this secret was probably only known by the leaders. Before opening the treasure trove, how would I know?" Chiochika raged. Back then there were 6 leaders. This setup was to prevent any one of the leaders from messing around. "If you can't, you can all open the treasure trove yourselves." Chiochika raged. "Humph." Ash Gold Emperor snorted and threw out another talisman. Chiochika took the message talisman. At the same time, another talisman appeared in his palm. Each of his arms held a talisman and pressed it on the door at the same time. Alter locked the talismans and simultaneously opened the door to the treasure trove. Chio Chika ordered, "Yes, master." Wang, the engravings on the door lit up, and countless beams of light wrapped around the two talismans. One on the left and one on the right, countless beams of light wrapped around them. Following which, kakaka sounds resounded and the entire door began to rise. This scene made Ash Gold Emperor and Purple Bell Emperor reveal looks of anticipation. The treasure trove has opened. Luo Feng observed quietly. So, Chio Chika rushed in. "You want to steal the treasure?" Ash Gold Emperor raged. So, he and Purple Bell Emperor immediately rushed into the treasure trove. Luo Feng and Tiger Thorn Emperor naturally swiftly followed. The treasure trove room was completely made of G-grade metal. It was filled with countless engravings. The room was 20 m long, 20 m wide, and 10 m tall. Simultaneously, there were 12 metal locks on the metal floor, locking the ancient treasure chest that had existed for 1 trillion years. Treasure chest. Chio Chika was the first to rush towards the chest. The treasure trove room he brought these foreign race enemies to was indeed a real treasure trove. And within the chest was a true treasure trove that even Chio Chika had never obtained before. Get lost. A bolt of lightning struck Chio Chika's body. It was a lightning spear. The entire lightning spear smashed fiercely into Chio Chika's body, sending him flying and crashing into the wall. Ash Gold Emperor fiercely grabbed the chest. Mine. Ash Gold Emperor fiercely pulled. Voila! The 12 chains suddenly tightened. They were covered in mysterious runes and easily resisted the Asha Gold King's pulling force. Ha ha ha! You still want to steal the treasure? Chio Chika laughed mockingly after crashing into the wall. These chains are made with special metals. Even a universe knight would find it extremely difficult to break them. As for you, even if you self-destruct, you probably won't be able to break them. Idiot! Purple Bell Emperor was originally nervous. However, he laughed coldly within. Luo Feng and Tiger Thorn Emperor let out a sigh of relief. We'll play by ear. Luo Feng communicated. That Chio Chika definitely won't be stupid enough to bring us in and give us the treasure without taking anything. Similarly, Ash Gold Emperor won't be willing to give half of the treasure to Chio Chika. The two of them definitely have some conflict. The moment they start fighting, we'll have a chance. Tiger Thorn Emperor agreed. The chains can't be broken. However, the chest can be opened. Chio Chika sneered at Ash Gold Emperor. Of course a foreign race, like you won't be able to open the chest. Open it. Ash Gold Emperor ordered. You think I'm an idiot? Open it, and I'll give it to you. Is there such a good deal? Chio Chika looked at Ash Gold Emperor. Ash Gold Emperor's huge chest rose and fell. He seemed to be raging as he stared hard at Chio Chika. Chio Chika, too, stared at Ash Gold Emperor. Huh. Chio Chika laughed. Simultaneously, he ordered within, Altar Tower, close the door to the treasure trove. Yes, master. Rumble. A huge sound suddenly resounded. Luo Feng fiercely turned his head to look, only to see the door to the treasure room that had been rising suddenly fall. The entire treasure room was completely shut. What's going on? Ash Gold Emperor roared furiously. Simultaneously, the thunder spear in his hand fiercely stabbed at Chio Chika, pinning him against the wall. Why did the door to the treasure trove suddenly close? How do we get out? Yes, the door to the treasure trove is closed. Chio Chika exclaimed. How do we get out? I'll think of something for you. Chio Chika seemed to be deep in thought, after which he said, You can use the God Country teleportation to leave the treasure trove. Ash Gold Emperor, Purple Bell Emperor, and Tiger Thorn Emperor's expressions changed. Luo Feng thought everyone didn't trust each other. Who would use the God Country teleportation? What's more, the treasure trove hasn't been acquired yet. Who would be willing to leave? Chio Chika's actions. It was obvious he was really going all out. What's he doing? Luo Feng frowned. The one with the strongest life preservation ability was probably Luo Feng. Naturally, he could calmly watch everything unfold. P.S. 3 chapters completed. I didn't expect Tomato's second chapter to be 6 seconds late today. Woo! I'll have to continue working hard for the next 2 days. Chapter 860. Luo Feng gazed about. The entire room was made of G-grade metal. Along with the engravings, it was impossible to force his way out. Aboriginal, what are you trying to do? Gold Song wielded his lightning spear, his voice rumbling as he stared angrily at Xiao Ka. Purple Clock and Piercing Tiger stared coldly at him too. Even though the door was closed and they couldn't leave, Luo Feng and the others didn't panic at all. Because they could use God-country teleportation to escape, it was just that they didn't trust each other, plus they still wanted the treasures. Hence they wouldn't choose to leave in a short amount of time. At this time, outside the room, 2 streams of light quickly flew over and stopped outside the treasure room. They were the native experts, Min Bu and La Dmo. The 2 of them looked at the 2 talismans locked on the door of the treasure room. They were both excited and pained. Pa! Min Bu and La Dmo extended their hands and easily grabbed the talismans. The 2 of them hesitantly looked towards the treasure room. The 2 of them knew that their clan elder was inside the treasure room. Elder, Min Bu and La Dmo were pained within. Why aren't you leaving? A voice drilled into their ears. Hurry up and leave. You can't be careless when it comes to the inheritance of our race. Yes. Min Bu and La Dmo gritted their teeth and immediately became beams of light and left the room. Elder, you have to come out alive. You have to come out alive. Min Bu looked up and shouted hoarsely. Elder, La Dmo shouted too. A voice came from the corridor. If I can survive, I will definitely come out alive. However, the probability of me coming out alive is very low. As long as you can bring back all the inheritances in the inheritance room, I will have no more regrets. Elder, La Dmo and Min Bu cried. At this time, within the control room of the tower, Pu Ai was both excited and pained at the scene before him. This was Xiao Ka's inheritance plan. The entire plan was to increase the chances of getting the talismans. The plan was simple. Xiao Ka would use the treasures to attract the other race warriors and then lead them to the treasure room and ask for the talismans to open it. He would then use this opportunity to leave the talismans on the door and enter the room, acting like he was going to steal the treasures. This would naturally attract the other race warriors, and when the door closed, the talismans would land in Min Bu and La Dmo's hands. With the door closed, the other race warriors wouldn't be able to leave. Min Bu and La Dmo could naturally head to the inheritance room and take away the countless inheritances. There were 2 aspects to this plan that required luck. One was whether Gold Song and the others would trust Xiao Ka and be willing to enter the room with him. Would Gold Song and the others follow Xiao Ka into the room? Would anyone notice the talisman on the door and ask for it? However, even if they did, Xiao Ka would control the door to close it. This way, Xiao Ka could just say, the talisman has to be on the door, otherwise the door will be closed. Overall, both of these were risky. Xiao Ka would be the first to enter the treasure room and get himself trapped. This was the main reason for the plan to succeed. If he didn't enter, or if he escaped the moment he entered, Gold Song and the others would follow. Naturally, Gold Song and the other experts would follow him. They wouldn't be trapped in the treasure room and affect the inheritance plan. Third brother, Pu Ai shouted in pain. You didn't have to enter the treasure room. If I don't enter, they won't enter. If they don't enter, Min Bu and the others won't be able to get the talisman easily, and the inheritance plan will be affected. Xiao Ka's voice resounded within the control room. Everything for the race. Everything for the race. Pu Ai nodded. Of the 3 treasure rooms back then, the first room had very few treasures. It was considered a treasure room. The second room had many treasures. It was a true treasure. The third treasure room had countless techniques suitable for the natives of Yanji continent. It was the true inheritance of the race. The inheritance room was the most important of the 3 rooms. Xiao Ka couldn't allow himself to fail. Hence, he entered, naturally, the second room. Within the room. What am I doing? Cho Chi Ka smiled at Gold Song. Other race expert, guess what I'm going to do? Still playing with me. Gold Song's voice rumbled. Luo Feng frowned as he looked at Cho Chi Ka. He felt like something was wrong with him, as though he had already won. Speak. What do I have to do to open that treasure chest? Gold Song pointed at the ancient treasure chest that was chained up by 12 chains in the middle of the room. Humph. Cho Chi Ka smiled at him. Do you want to die? Gold Song suppressed his rage and roared. Smart. Cho Chi Ka looked at Gold Song and said softly, I want to die. Beside him, Piercing Tiger and Luo Feng were all stunned. Gold Song was stunned too, after which they looked in disbelief at this aboriginal. I want to die. Do you understand? It's been too long. I've lived for too long, and I've been in pain for too long. My race has been destroyed, and I've been struggling for countless years. It's been too tiring. It's time to end it. Cho Chi Ka's eyes gleamed with relief. I may even be able to drag 1 or 2 other emperors down with me when I die. Haha, how delightful. Not good. This aboriginal is crazy. Purple Clock and Piercing Tiger were both shocked. This aboriginal was a pinnacle emperor. If he self-destructed, Gold Song might be fine, but they would be in trouble. I've finally gotten the inheritance. He closed his eyes and smiled. I've done enough. Masha, my lover, when you died of old age, I wanted to leave with you. Only I couldn't now. I've come to rest with you in the land of silence. Cho Chi Ka, who had his eyes closed, had a calm smile on his face, following which the energy undulations from his body exploded forth. No. Within the control room, Pu AI saw the scene and howled in pain. No. Third brother, don't do this. Shio. 2 beams of light flew into the control room. It was La Dmo and Min Bu who had gotten the inheritance. They too were stunned by the scene. Elder. No. Within the treasure room. No. Piercing Tiger stared wide-eyed and slammed into the wall beside him. However, the wall was simply too sturdy. Madman. Purple Clock gritted his teeth and cursed madly within. Madman. Gold Song too roared coldly as he stood there. Luo Feng wrapped himself in his wings and muttered, I wonder if I can make it. Cho Chi Ka smiled and closed his eyes. Rumble. His every cell began to burn and release a terrifying energy. Trillions of years of undying body all gathered at that moment. Rumble. A mad energy akin to 1,000,000 Sector Lord Kings combined swept through the entire room. The room was only so big, there was nowhere to hide. I cannot die. Piercing Tiger howled. Humph. Purple Clock snorted as a purple clock silhouette appeared around him. Luo Feng wrapped himself in his wings. Gold Song watched coldly. A powerful energy storm engulfed the 4 warriors. At this time, Piercing Tiger and Purple Clock both gave it their all. Rumble. After being weakened by the Sha Wu wings and the silver armor, the impact still completely shattered Luo Feng's last layer of cloud contact armor. The cloud contact armor was as tough as a low emperor. Even a high emperor would find it hard to shatter it. Completely shattering it meant the difference was huge. Rumble. The 2 weakened attacks were completely blocked by the armor. The remaining force shook Luo Feng's body, instantly destroying 80% of it. However, with large amounts of energy, it swiftly recovered. Gold Song, Purple Clock, and Piercing Tiger without the Sha Wu wings and general armor were different. Gold Song stood there coldly. His body was shattered from the impact, however it reformed immediately. His expression was still cold as he looked at the 3 of them coldly. There was no need to mention the tragedy in the room. Within the core control room, Pu AI, La Dmo, and Minbu were all in pain. Their race had been wiped out, and they had struggled under Cho Chi Ka's leadership. He was their spiritual leader, and he had always protected them. Many of the difficulties and dangers were resolved by him. Now that they had gotten the inheritance, he was gone forever. These are the last words the master left behind. He told me to pass it to you after he died. The AI's voice resounded within the control room. Pu AI, La Dmo, and Minbu held their breaths. Cho Chi Ka's voice resounded. Pu AI, La Dmo, Minbu, when you hear this, I will have already fallen. Forgive me, I am a fugitive. Over trillions of years, I only held on for faith. Now that I've gotten the inheritance, I'm satisfied. I'll leave the rest to you. Remember, the door to the treasure room is already closed, and the other races cannot leave. They have no way of opening the chest either. I believe they will eventually choose to teleport out of the God Country. The moment they leave, one of you must secretly go and retrieve the treasure from the chest. This is the most perfect outcome. If the other races arrive, you all immediately enter the God Country through the space pathway and destroy it. Prepare for both scenarios. Pu AI, my brothers, DMO, Minbu, children, the future of the race is in your hands. Forgive me for escaping. There were no more sounds. Pu AI, La DMO, and Minbu couldn't help but cry. The surviving Undyings had supported each other for trillions of years. Their relationship was incredibly deep, and Xiuqi Ka was like an elder brother, sheltering the race from the elements. You're not escaping, third brother. You're not escaping. You're just too tired, too tired. You need rest. Pu AI muttered. Beside him, La DMO and Minbu were already sobbing. For the race, their elder Xiuqi Ka had fallen P.S. Into Chapter 1. Chapter 861. We have to let the race rise. We cannot let the elders die for nothing. La DMO roared, beside him Minbu nodded. Look at the treasure room, the Divine Master Pu AI said in a low voice. The treasure room and the inheritance room. The inheritance room contains all kinds of secret techniques that are suitable for our race's body structure that we have accumulated over countless years, while the treasure room contains all kinds of precious treasures. As long as these other race god countries teleport away, we will be able to get the treasure. La DMO and Minbu also nodded solemnly as they watched the scene in the virtual projection with a burning gaze. Within the treasure room, Xiuqi Ka was an Emperor Pinnacle warrior. His self-destruction lasted for a while before the room finally calmed down. Bastard, bastard, bastard. Piercing Tiger howled in the corner, his eyes filled with madness. Purple Clock's expression was ashen, his eyes gleaming as he glanced at Gold Song in the center. Gold Song, however, had a cold expression. Luo Feng was like a cocoon formed by the silver wings as he was pressed against the wall, after which he spread his wings and gazed around. Piercing Tiger's energy had already dropped to a shocking level. On the contrary, Purple Clock's energy didn't change much, and so did Gold Song. Piercing Tiger has suffered huge losses. Over half of his undying body is gone. Luo Feng was curious, but Purple Clock isn't injured. It's normal that Gold Song isn't injured, but this Purple Clock. There were two enemies. Gold Song, Emperor Limit. Purple Clock, Emperor Pinnacle. Gold Song laughed coldly. You sure know how to disguise yourself. Gold Song laughed coldly at Purple Clock, his voice rumbling. Purple Clock, if it wasn't for that aboriginal self-destruction, I really wouldn't have been able to tell that your Chi Chong race had such power. Other than when you burned 3% of your undying body against that human yang. After that, whether it was Night Emperor's self-destruction or this aboriginal's, none of them hurt you at all. Under this attack, Gold Song was unharmed. Luo Feng's terrifying defense was still unharmed. Gold Song had long guessed that this human had some special trump card. Hence, he wasn't shocked that Luo Feng could survive this ordeal. Piercing Tiger had lost more than half of his undying body. If his injuries were more serious, he would probably fall into a deep sleep. This was within expectations. Only Purple Clock acted like a normal Pinnacle Emperor. Before, when Night Emperor self-destructed, Purple Clock shouted that he was injured. However, because he was hiding in his cabin and the explosion was spread in all directions, even Piercing Tiger was not injured. Even if Purple Clock was injured, it was hard to tell from the surface. No one noticed the uniqueness of Purple Clock. But this time was different. Xiuqi Ka self-destructed in the small treasure room. The treasure room was 20 m wide and 10 m tall. It was extremely small, sealed, adding on the fact that the defenses of the cabin were strong enough to withstand Xiuqi Ka's self-destruction without any damage. The explosion was extremely powerful. Piercing Tiger King would definitely be heavily injured. If it was worse, he would lose consciousness and fall into eternal slumber. Yet Purple Clock was unharmed. That was weird. Purple Clock laughed. His scales were wrinkled, making him look extremely ugly. His voice was sharp. Gold Song. There are trillions of races in the universe, with countless treasures and dangerous places. So what if I have a few life-saving moves? You didn't mention anything about the plan before. Gold Song looked at him. This is a life-saving move. There's no need to mention it. Purple Clock lowered his head, obviously admitting defeat. Umph. Gold Song snorted coldly. He then glanced at Piercing Tiger King and the human youth and sneered in his heart. Piercing Tiger King was not worth mentioning. As for the human youth, he obviously had powerful defensive means, but his offensive strength was mediocre. There was no need to fear him. I think we should all try to open the treasure. Gold Song pointed at the chest. Who wants to go first? Who dare to go first? Gold Song, you go first. Purple Clock said. Umph. Only then did Gold Song walk towards the ancient treasure chest that was bound by the 12 chains. He used brute force and various techniques to think of a way to break it. In the end, he unwillingly kicked the treasure chest, causing the space around it to crack. He shouted, "You guys come and try. Let me." Purple Clock walked up to the chest and looked at Luo Feng. "Human, why don't you give it a try?" "No need." Luo Feng wasn't in a rush. Purple Clock tried many times but failed. Luo Feng and Piercing Tiger tried too, but they failed too. Within the control room of the tower, these other races still want our treasure? Dream on. Menbu said hatefully. The treasure is ours. La Dmo sneered. These alien races are all unwilling. Look at Gold Song, the strongest one among them. He's about to go crazy. However, what's the use? They still won't get the treasure. They only have one choice, to leave via God Country teleportation. Wait for them to leave, then we'll get the treasure. Pooh AI said. The three aboriginals watched on silently, anticipating the invaders to leave via God Country teleportation. The stalemate lasted for a full 10 minutes before Gold Song and Purple Clock realized that they had no way of opening the chest. Maybe I can make the Masha race transform into an aboriginal of Yin-Ji continent and try opening it. Luo Feng stood in the corner with Piercing Tiger and thought. However, I don't have absolute confidence in deceiving the system. Whether or not it works, I can't try in front of Gold Song and the others. What a waste of effort. Gold Song roared angrily, resounding throughout the room. Purple Clock, Piercing Tiger, and Luo Feng couldn't help but mutter. Waste of effort. That Ice Blade and Night Emperor had gotten the treasures of the 6 guides, and in the end, all of their wealth ended up in Gold Song's hands. It was estimated to be at least tens of billions of mixed elements. That was considered a waste of effort. Greed is something that all experts have in their hearts. Luo Feng couldn't help but sigh. The only difference is that some can control their greed while others can't. You three, Gold Song's voice resounded. Use God Country teleportation to leave first. Luo Feng was shocked. The 3 of them were to leave first? Wouldn't that reveal their God Country coordinates? Then wouldn't Gold Song be able to follow them into their God Country? With his strength, the moment he entered an enemy God Country, whether it was Piercing Tiger or Purple Clocks, the God Country would be destroyed. We leave first. Purple Clock raged. Gold Song, your strength is far greater than mine. If you teleport away, none of us would dare to follow you into your God Country. Hence, for what I see, we should go by strength. The strongest should leave first. The weaker should leave last. Right? Piercing Tiger roared too. I agree. Luo Feng nodded. They were very clear that the 3 of them had to work together. In the dark treasure room, Gold Song, whose body was surrounded by electric snakes, let out a low roar. Those who go against me die. Even if we don't go against you, we will still die. Purple Clock's eyes gleamed fiercely. I'm already heavily injured and will need countless years to recover. Gold Song, don't go overboard. Piercing Tiger King's eyes flashed with a trace of madness. How pitiful was he? This time, He didn't manage to obtain any treasures and was heavily injured to such an extent. As a titled king, he still had his pride. After such a long time, many titled kings no longer feared death, and self-detonation was a common occurrence. Luo Feng looked at Goldsong too. It was obvious that the three of them had formed an alliance without even talking. Ah, Goldsong's eyes gleamed as he looked at them with interest. You sure have guts. I've already activated the virtual world teleportation. Purple Clock gritted his teeth and stared at Goldsong. Record everything around. If you dare make a move, no one will be able to protect you if you attack your comrades from the same camp. Record and teleport. Goldsong mocked. All the signals in the tower are blocked. There's no way to scan. You can only use your eyes to record and record. That's the most basic method. However, I've long warped the light and sent the sound directly into your mind. You have no way to record anything. Ah, Purple Clock's expression changed. Haha, this tower, even the most expensive scanning signal, is useless. Even God energy scanning is useless. Your virtual world device only has a recording function, and that's the most misleading and easy to fake. It can't be used as evidence. What's more, I can control light and sound, huh? Goldsong smiled at Purple Clock. For you to be able to withstand that aboriginal self-destruction without being injured, you must have a treasure on you. The human can withstand it too. Purple Clock said nervously. Luo Feng's expression changed when he heard this. Him? Goldsong looked at Luo Feng with interest. That human strength isn't even comparable to yours, but his defense is absurd. He must have some kind of powerful special method. Relax. I'll deal with you all one by one. Even though I won't get the treasure this time, I'll still get your wealth. That's a little compensation. Purple Clock, Piercing Tiger, and Luo Feng were all shocked. Goldsong was already tearing off all pretenses. Don't go overboard. Piercing Tiger roared. Shut up. With such heavy injuries, your self-destruction won't harm me at all. Goldsong mocked. I don't care about your wealth. I care more about these two. His gaze landed on Luo Feng and Purple Clock. Don't force me. Purple Clock roared, at the same time flipping his hand, and a black crystal ball appeared. A heart-shaking energy ripple spread from it. If forced, we will all die together. P.S. The second chapter is here, and the third chapter. Chapter 862. Luo Feng, who was standing with Tiger Thorn Emperor, was shocked. Looking carefully, the black crystal ball looked very normal on the surface. Only the energy ripples revealed that this black crystal ball wasn't normal. It's a fire god crystal, and an extremely high-end one. Luo Feng thought, at least it's higher end than the one I bought before. The one he spent 800 million points to buy before, that was comparable to an Emperor-level warrior's self-destruct. It was obviously not as good as this one before him, according to the classification. Of course, there were Thunder God origin crystals, Water God origin crystals, and so on. However, in terms of explosive power, the Fire God origin crystal was the cheapest, so the Fire God origin crystal was the most popular, but every inch had its own advantages. The Thunder God origin crystal, Water God origin crystal, and so on also had some special advantages. At certain times, they were also important, so naturally there were strong people who bought them. Ha! A loud and powerful laugh resounded. The voice echoed within Ash Gold Emperor's chest. Purple Zhong Emperor, however, held the Fire God crystal in his hand. Threatening me? You're threatening me? Ash Gold Emperor's voice was like thunder. His huge stature allowed him to look down on Purple Zhong Emperor. Just relying on this Fire God crystal in your hand to threaten me? Haha, this Fire God's origin crystal is your most famous trump card, the A812 Grade Fire God's origin crystal, right? I heard that when you, Purple Zhong King, encountered a life and death crisis several times, you always took out this Fire God's origin crystal to threaten your opponents, and it really allowed you to escape several calamities. Today, you used it to threaten me again? However, the Purple Bell King muttered softly with a sharp voice, A812 Fire God origin crystal, an extremely high-end product among Fire God origin crystals. It is equivalent to 3 times the power of a peak king-ranked martial artist's self-destruction. Just this fire god origin crystal alone used up my endless wealth back then. A812. Luo Feng's heart skipped a beat. The higher the power of the fire god crystal, the higher its price. Comparable to an emperor-level warrior's self-destruct only required 800 million points. However, this A812 fire god crystal, if you wanted to buy it, you would have to spend 12 billion points. Purple Zhong Emperor's price would probably be even higher. Such a huge amount of wealth. Almost enough to make an emperor-level undying go bankrupt with such wealth. Many warriors would rather buy treasures to raise their strength, or buy powerful weapons, etc. Those who were determined to buy a fire god crystal were few and far between. You're right. I relied on it to escape several calamities. The Purple Bell King's sharp voice continued. I believe I can escape this calamity this time. It's useless. It doesn't pose much of a threat to me, King Ageless Gold said confidently. 3 times the power of a peak king-ranked divine king's self-destruction. Of course, it won't be able to kill you. However, in such a confined space, I believe it can destroy 5% to 10% of your immortal divine body. Purple Bell King looked at King Changjin. You are already injured. If you get injured again, it will take a long time for you to recover. King Changji nodded. Well said. Ash Gold Emperor turned to look at Luo Feng. Human, this Purple Bell Emperor makes me feel troubled. I don't mind killing you first. Luo Feng didn't speak. The atmosphere within the treasure room seemed to freeze. Purple Zhong Emperor, Luo Feng, and Tiger Thorn Emperor, the 3 weaklings, all looked at Ash Gold Emperor. Actually, Ash Gold Emperor's earlier threats were to force Luo Feng and the others to reveal their trump cards. If Luo Feng's trump cards were terrifying, Ash Gold Emperor would stop. If Luo Feng and Purple Zhong Emperor didn't have any powerful trump cards, then Ash Gold Emperor would make his move. This sort of action was very normal before an absolute warrior's battle. Because to train to such a level, one would have trained for 1,000,000 years, 10 million years, or even older. Even if one could suppress the opponent and kill the opponent, one would have to first force the opponent. If one were to use a killing move right from the start, forcing the opponent to crazily take out a terrifying fire god origin crystal, both of them would die at the same time. Wouldn't that be a waste? With the possibility of both sides being heavily injured, the strong usually didn't want to kill each other. It's a pity your thread is too weak. Ash Gold Emperor revealed a radiant smile. Then, you can all die. Attack. Purple Zhong Emperor roared. Kill. Tiger Thorn Emperor immediately ignited his immortal divine body. Fight it out. Luo Feng too communicated. Luo Feng and the other 2 immediately understood Ash Gold Emperor's final decision. To kill them. Even if they died, they couldn't let Ash Gold Emperor have it easy. Even though Tiger Thorn Emperor, Purple Zhong Emperor, and Luo Feng looked like they couldn't do anything to Ash Gold Emperor, it was like 3 ants fighting against an elephant. Rumble. Endless thunder with Ash Gold Emperor as the center, emanating throughout the entire treasure room. Kill. Ash Gold Emperor wielded the thunder spear, igniting his immortal divine body, causing the hearts of Luo Feng and the others to tremble with energy ripples. This Ash Gold Emperor ignited his immortal divine body to end the battle quickly, using the fastest speed and lowest cost to kill us. Purple Zhong Emperor communicated to Luo Feng and Tiger Thorn Emperor, don't care so much, whatever trump cards you have, just go all out. The Tiger Thorn King let out an angry and unwilling roar. He, who was already seriously injured and close to hibernating, was like an ant trying to shake a tree. He could only angrily ignite his immortal divine body and detonate it. In the midst of his angry and unwilling roar, the energy explosion instantly filled the entire treasure room. However, the power of this explosion was only 20 to 30% of the self-detonation of the Qiuqi Ka. Tiger Thorn Emperor fell. Idiot. Ash Gold Emperor paused for a moment, not caring about Tiger Thorn Emperor's actions at all. Yang. Purple Zhong Emperor roared anxiously. Let's go all out. At this time, Purple Zhong Emperor's eyes were filled with madness. However, no matter how much he shouted for Luo Feng, he couldn't go all out. Because Luo Feng wasn't an undying, he couldn't ignite his immortal divine body. How could he go all out? Die! Ash Gold Emperor's eyes were filled with arrogance and coldness. Human, you're really useless. Purple Zhong Emperor's eyes that were filled with fear and madness had all vanished, leaving only coldness. Suddenly, a mottled ancient purple bell appeared on his skin. On it were dense and mysterious words. At least Luo Feng didn't recognize these words at all. The bell emitted a heart-palpitating pressure. Hua! The bell that appeared on the surface of his scales suddenly grew, simultaneously flying up and swiftly expanding before fiercely covering them. The treasure trove room was only so big. Luo Feng and Ash Gold Emperor had nowhere to dodge. They were completely covered by the purple bell. The purple bell seemed to have existed for an eternity. Just that powerful energy alone made Luo Feng's heart palpitate. Treasure. This is a true treasure. Back then, when Dark Flame Emperor used the treasure his father gave him to go all out, the energy wasn't even stronger than this purple bell. This is definitely a treasure used by a Universe Knight. This bell was an ancient treasure. Its power was boundless. Within the bell, Luo Feng, Ash Gold Emperor, and Purple Zhong Emperor were all covered within. Actually, the entire bell's diameter was about 16 m, almost covering half of the treasure trove room. Purple Zhong Emperor. Ash Gold Emperor looked shocked at the distant Purple Zhong Emperor within the bell. Everyone says that I use the flaming bell for attack and the purple bell shadow for defense. However, do any of you know that my true treasure is this mysterious ancient bell? The purple bell monarch sneered in his heart. At the same time, he sent a voice transmission and shouted, "Monarch Azure Gold, since you want to kill me, don't blame me for killing you." 2 peak-stage king-ranked martial artists and 1 peak-stage king-ranked martial artist have already perished under this ancient bell. Today you and that human will both die. Human, you're so useless, you can die too. Once you're dead, that mysterious defensive treasure of yours will be mine. 2 transmissions resounded within Luo Feng and Ash Gold Emperor's minds. Following closely, Purple Zhong Emperor only took a step back and walked out of the bell. He had long refined this bell and was able to absorb it into his body. Naturally, he could easily pass through it. When he exited the ancient bell, he also placed the black crystal ball, the fire god origin crystal, that was worth over 10 billion mixed element units into the ancient bell. Not good. Ash Gold Emperor's expression changed. Trouble. Luo Feng saw the fire god crystal too. At this time, it had already exploded. Explode. Outside the bell, Purple Zhong Emperor laughed lightly. To kill Ash Gold Emperor, if he just relied on himself, even with this bell, he wouldn't be able to do so. Even though treasures were powerful, the increase in strength was limited. At most it had some special uses. Even if Luo Feng had the Wu killer wings, he couldn't say he could kill an ultimate emperor. Hence he had to use this fire god crystal. This fire god origin crystal had 3 times the power of a peak Regis God Fiend's self-destruction. Logically speaking, it should only be able to injure King Grey Gold. But now, the situation was different. Such a powerful explosion was completely bound within the bell. Then, through the uniqueness of the bell itself, the shock wave formed by the explosion was formed into a beam. It was like a loudspeaker emitting sound waves. That explosive shock wave blasted in one direction, and under the control of the Purple Bell King, that attack directly hit Ash Gold Emperor. That would increase the explosion power of the Fire God Crystal by 10 times. In this way, even a peak-conferred king-ranked expert would die. Unless this peak Regis-conferred martial artist also had a heaven-defying defensive armor like the Regis armor, or some other extremely valuable protective treasure like this ancient bell, he would not be able to do so. Before, the reason why Purple Zhong Emperor was fine after Night Chen Emperor's explosion and Scarlet Dragon's explosion was because of this purple bell. Ever since he had obtained this ancient bell, he had killed super experts and obtained a large amount of wealth to strengthen himself. He had also bought those incomparably expensive Fire God origin crystals. Naturally, he had made a huge comeback. However, he had always kept a low profile. Anyone who had seen him use the purple bell had already died. After killing Ash Gold Emperor and that human, I'll be able to acquire another huge amount of wealth. Ash Gold Emperor has already acquired a few other warriors' treasures before, along with his own wealth. It's definitely not small. When that time comes, I'll buy 2 more Fire God crystals. Purple Zhong Emperor thought within, and that human, he's much weaker than me, but his defense is so shocking, he might even have a mysterious treasure similar to my bell. Purple Zhong Emperor was anticipating, die, all of you die, everything is mine. It's the last day of the month. If you don't vote, it'll be useless. Brothers and sisters, vote for tomato. I've finished updating 3 chapters today. As yesterday's 2nd chapter was late, Tomato will have to update 4 chapters tomorrow to make up for what I missed. I'll work hard to update 4 chapters tomorrow. Remember to vote for Tomato. Chapter 863. The 3 native powerhouses in the core control room of the altar watched everything that happened in the treasure room through the monitor. Kill each other. Good kill. Good kill. Die, all of you. Puera, Latimer, and Minbu were all very excited. They looked at the virtual projection in anticipation. As survivors of the disaster, they were instinctively hostile to the other alien races in the universe, especially those who participated in the foreign battlefields. They hated them even more, because their race was exterminated by the 4 peak races in order to open up a battlefield. Just because they wanted to open up a battlefield, they exterminated our race. They were filled with resentment, their hearts filled with hatred. But to the 4 peak races, it was like a few powerful lion herds wanting to open up a battlefield, and the rabbit herds that originally occupied the battlefield were casually dealt with. To lions, eating rabbits and trampling ants to death was a very normal thing. But to rabbits and ants, lions were their greatest enemies. Between the different races, there was no such thing as pity. Die, all of you die. Puera, Latimer, and Minbu's eyes were filled with passion as they watched everything unfold. Its entire body was purple, appearing mottled and ancient. The dense and mysterious characters on the body of the bell also faintly emitted a powerful aura. Rumble, a terrifying and violent sound, rang out from within the ancient bell. Although the explosive energy of the fire god Origin Crystal was bound in one direction, it still formed a powerful explosive impact on the entire bell. Boom! Through the bell, there was still an invisible shockwave spreading out. Bang, bang, bang. It directly struck the skinny and ferocious Purple Bell King, who was standing outside the ancient bell. Even though it was weakened by 90% by the bell, the impact still caused Purple Bell King's body to shatter, but it instantly condensed back into one. He grinned excitedly, his eyes filled with anticipation. King Ageless Gold, human, you can all die. The treasures are mine. Everything is mine. Ah! A powerful and angry roar came from King Grayscale's throat, his eyes filled with anger. Purple Bell King. King Grayscale's eyes were about to split open. Bang! The ancient bell rumbled, and the terrifying energy produced by the explosion of the fire god Origin Crystal was swept up by the ancient bell, compressed, and controlled to bombard in one direction, the direction of King Ageless. King Grayscale had no way of dodging the attack at such a close range. He was instantly hit by the terrifying attack. Originally, they were going to explode in all directions, but now they were forcefully bound in one direction, and the power increased by at least 10 times. It was already 3 times stronger than a peak king-ranked Godfiend's self-destruction. Now it was 10 times stronger. Rumble, Songjin Emperor's entire body was filled with a powerful energy. Before, he wanted to quickly finish off Purple Bell Emperor and Luo Feng. He had already ignited 3% of his undying body. However, he didn't have the time to kill the other warriors before he was trapped within the bell. With his Emperor's pinnacle strength and igniting his body, he was actually able to withstand the explosion for a moment. But it was useless. It was only for a moment. In terms of the quality of the energy, the power of King Greygold's immortal body was almost the same as the attack from the ancient bell. However, in terms of quantity, King Greygold had only ignited 3% of his immortal body's energy, and it was instantly used up. The moment he was attacked, he could feel the attack consume his burning, undying power. King Grey Gold understood. It's over. I will definitely die. My disciples, my teachers, Koatale Meng Sha, goodbye. I hope in the distant future I can revive and see you all again. A trace of sadness flashed through King Ageless Gold's eyes, followed by endless madness. He roared in his heart, Purple Bell King, kill me? You can die with me. Explode. King Grey Gold chose to self-destruct at the last moment. Normal attacks, when a fire god origin crystal explodes to kill an emperor, the energy would be mutually destroyed, and most of the energy would be used up. Just like back then when King Grey Gold destroyed 50% of Night King's immortal body. This was a form of destruction. There wouldn't be much of a commotion. However, if he chose to self-destruct instead of resisting or destroying each other. Just like how Night King's self-destruction caused a huge commotion, if he self-destructed, it would be equivalent to King Grey Gold turning into a burning fire god origin crystal. Boom! The fire god origin crystal surged with energy. Boom! King Grey Gold's crazy self-destruction was even more terrifying. It was like two fire god origin crystals exploding at the same time, the power frightening. Outside the ancient bell. No! Purple Bell King's expression changed drastically. He had been controlling the energy of the fire god origin crystal through the ancient bell, restraining it in one direction. Naturally, he could clearly feel the wild energy from the explosion rising. Once he set it, he couldn't restrain it or control it. This energy would blast in all directions. Even if the bell's obstruction was reduced by 90%, the remaining 10% was enough to completely destroy a peak emperor like him. After all, this was a peak emperor exploding with a fire god origin crystal. Restrain. Restrain. All in one direction. All in one direction. In the face of death, Purple Bell King desperately tried to control the ancient bell. He wanted to restrain the energy of King Grayscale's self-destruction, just like the energy produced by the explosion of the fire god origin crystal, and blast it downwards. Restraining one direction would cause the direction to be attacked, and the attack power would be especially terrifying. The other directions would be much weaker as well. This way, the impact through the bell would be much weaker. However, it was clear that restraining and controlling such terrifying energy was very difficult even with the help of the ancient bell. Restrain. Purple Bell King's entire body burned with undying god power, his eyes filled with madness. Hua Hua, the burning, undying god power was like a raging flood that poured out and was absorbed by the purple bell. With the help of this burning, undying god power, the purple bell's power increased greatly, forcefully restraining King Grey Gold's self-destruction in the same direction as the fire god origin crystal's energy. The two energies converged. One direction, straight down. Boom! This energy bombarded the ground of the treasure room, which was also the area covered by the bell. The defense of the treasure room's walls and ground was indeed very strong. Even a peak emperor's self-destruction could withstand it. One had to know that this was already the power of an ordinary attack from a universe paragon. However, a peak emperor's self-destruction, after passing through the ancient bell's restraints and blasting in one direction, its power was increased tenfold. This caused the ground to instantly suffer an impact that was over 100 times stronger. Pung, pung, pung. The treasure room's metal floor was forcibly torn apart, and the treasure chest was located in the center of the floor. Naturally, it was also enveloped by the bell. When the metal floor was completely torn apart, the 12 chains connected to the floor and the treasure chest bound by the chains were clearly very strong. In the face of such an attack, the 12 chains and the treasure chest withstood it without being damaged. Rip! The metal floor was blasted apart. The defense of the other areas of the altar below the treasure room was much weaker. Back then, Night King's self-destruction with 50% of his undying body had turned the surrounding 60 kilometers into ruins. At this moment, the attack was much stronger, and it was restricted in one direction. Rumble, a thick shockwave that was visible to the naked eye directly rushed downwards. The shards on the metal floor were mixed with the 12 chains and treasure chests. There were also a lot of treasures released from the World Ring under such a terrifying bombardment. Many treasures were also destroyed. There were even more valuable treasures that were blasted downwards along with the metal shards, chains, and treasure chests. In one breath, a 6,000 kilometers deep hole was blasted open. The shockwave only dissipated when everything within the 6,000 kilometers area was blasted to smithereens. Pale Gold Emperor was in a tragic state. However, Luo Feng wasn't in a good state either. Back then, the fire god origin crystal's explosion was specifically targeted at Pale Gold Emperor. Only a little of the shockwave was released to Luo Feng. It wasn't much of a threat to him, he could still take it. However, following that, Pale Gold Emperor self-destructed. This was troublesome. Even though Purple Bell Emperor used all his strength to restrict it, the energy that was released was much stronger. Luo Feng was hit by about 30% to 50% of the Emperor's self-destruction. Dodge. The moment Pale Gold Emperor self-destructed, Luo Feng, who was hiding in a corner of the bell, knew something was wrong. He immediately kept his earth body in his internal world. It wasn't as troublesome as using the world ring to store items. Luo Feng's 3 bodies could instantly switch and enter the internal world. Because the internal world nurtured them, it was the core of the 3 bodies. Even though he instantly hid in the internal world, the world ring that stored the core was still hidden within the Wu Killer wings. The wings had long been refined by Luo Feng and could be absorbed into his body. His body's muscles and the wings had completely fused together. That world ring could fuse with his muscles too. Naturally, he could store the world ring within the wings. So, that was the safest. Rumble, the silver Wu Killer wings with the world ring within was blasted downwards. Along with the large amounts of treasures and shards, they all flew downwards swiftly. Actually, just the world ring alone was specially made by Luo Feng to make it as strong as possible. Just the shockwave alone wouldn't cause it to shatter. However, Luo Feng didn't dare gamble. Hence, he kept it within the wings. Killing Wu's wings wrapped around the world ring, the chains, the treasure chest, the metal fragments, and the countless treasures released by King Greygold's shattered world ring. The treasures of the previous king-titled powerhouses, including King Greygold's own wealth, were all blasted away. It's all mine. It's all mine. While the entire floor was being blasted apart, Purple Zhong Emperor, who was burning his undying body to stop Pale Gold Emperor's self-destruction, had already used up 26% of his undying body. His losses were huge. Worth it. Worth it. Worth it. All of the Emperor's treasures, Pale Gold Emperor's countless years of accumulation, the human's powerful defensive treasure, and that chained treasure chest, everything is mine. Losing the undying body, it's worth it, worth it. Even though Purple Zhong Emperor was shocked by the floor being blasted apart, he quickly rushed downwards towards the large amounts of treasures. Chapter 864. The path created by the explosion was a straight line downwards. Its diameter was only that big. Pong, pong, pong. And those large amounts of treasures couldn't possibly be parallel to the wall. Hence, they were like glass beads smashing into the wall. Cracking sounds could be heard. All sorts of treasures smashed into the wall and then rebounded diagonally to the other side, then rebounded diagonally again. It was a complete mess. However, the Purple Bell King's eyes were blazing with excitement and excitement. A normal person, if they saw large amounts of gold rolling around on the street, covering the entire street, even though it was a mess, they would still be excited. They are all mine, mine. Haha, later, I'll buy 2 more Fire God Origin Crystals. Then I will buy the slots to study the Fire Bell God Mountain and large amounts of treasures that can aid in recovering the undying God body. And also, Purple Bell King hurriedly flew downwards, swiftly collecting the large amounts of treasures. In his heart, he was thinking about what to do in the future. There were simply too many treasures in the universe. All sorts of treasures, like Purple Bell King, treasures that could attract the attention of the universe paragons. Like Wu Yu, treasures that could make the universe paragons go crazy. Or even higher, treasures that were frequently used by the universe lords. There were also all sorts of items like general armor, king armor, and other items with peculiar usage conditions. Anyway, countless of them. However, treasures could only be obtained by venturing into the universe's secret regions. They required experts to fight for them, and large amounts of wealth were needed to purchase them. Ha! Satisfying, satisfying. Too satisfying. Purple Bell King swooped downwards, collecting all the treasures he had found. So, Wu Yu continued to descend. Beside it was the chain treasure chest and large amounts of other treasures. I actually had such fortune, haha. Beside Wu Yu, a metal shard appeared. It was the G-grade metal shard that the Masha clansman had transformed into. Of course, it only replicated the aura, but the insides were very empty. It was pretty but not practical. After all, the Masha clansman was unable to turn its insides into G-grade metal. So, sure, Wu's wings had disappeared, having been absorbed into the inner world. As for the world ring, it had fused with the metal fragment of the devil kill. Since it was impossible to detect it in the altar, how could the Purple Bell King, who was diving down from the sky, not notice it at all? This chain treasure chest is also mine. Whoosh! The treasure chest, which was bound by 12 chains and still had some metal fragments attached to it, also disappeared at this moment. King Greygold's lightning spear? TSK, TSK. It's actually not damaged. It's mine too. What is this? Spatial ring? World ring? It seems that King Greygold's broken world ring also contains some interspatial rings. World rings, I'll take them too. Tisk tisk. This vessel that stores the purple sedan divine tree marrow is really sturdy. It didn't break even after hitting the wall so many times. I'll keep it. Wow, this is worth 1 billion mixed element units. I'll take it too. Return. Withdraw. Return. I'll take it. The Masha clansman became a metal shard, wantonly collecting large amounts of treasures, almost like gold falling from the sky. Luo Feng didn't reject anything, however much there was. As for Purple Bell King, who was diving down from the sky, he was also collecting a large number of treasures. One of them was below, while the other was high up in the sky. Both of them were collecting treasures. Where's that chained treasure chest? Purple Bell King, who was diving down, creased his eyebrows. Did it collide with the wall and fall into some pathway? This attack had created a 6,000 kilometers pathway. Naturally, it was connected to the altar's own pathways and cabins. Hence, some of the treasures had fallen into the pathways and pathways. The chained treasure chest, I have to find it. I'm afraid, even if all the other treasures were added up, they wouldn't be as valuable as the chest. And that human, I wonder what the human's treasure is. Purple Bell King thought within. Back when King Greygold exploded, large amounts of treasures were blasted away. Amongst them were the silver wings. Under the countless treasures, Purple Bell King couldn't even tell which one belonged to the human Luo Feng. I'll first find the altar's treasure chest. This is the most expensive. As long as I get it back, naturally there'll be a way to open it. The Purple Bell King began to search. While searching, he would occasionally find some treasures. He would also directly put them away. However, he would directly put these treasures into his spatial ring. The Purple Bell King had a great encounter. He had experienced it before. He knew of some special life forms in the universe. From the outside, one couldn't tell they were life forms. However, if he kept them in his space ring, that would be bad. Hence, he would keep some of the more expensive treasures in his space ring. No matter how small it is, it's still meat. This is, after all, a G-grade metal. I'll keep it too. Purple Bell King kept the various G-grade metal shards too. These metals were very expensive too. Any one of them could make a normal, undying go bankrupt. Adding them up, they were worth over 100 million mixed elements. Chain treasure chest? Where is this chain treasure chest? Where is it? Purple Bell King searched anxiously. However, he couldn't find it. What's going on? Which pathway did I fall into? Purple Bell King was anxious. Amongst the treasures, the altar's treasure chest was the one he valued the most. However, he couldn't find it. Shio. Purple Bell King kept another shard. The spatial ring automatically expelled the metal shard, directly expelling it. What's going on? Purple Bell King was shocked. He turned fiercely to look at the shard. Ha! A silhouette appeared in midair. It was the silver-winged human Luo Feng. The shard landed in Luo Feng's hands. The world ring immediately melted into his skin. As for the Masha clansman, it returned to the internal world. You. Purple Bell King's cold eyes stared wide and round. He stared hard at the silhouette before him. His silver armor and wings floated in midair. They gently flapped. Luo Feng smiled at Purple Bell King and said softly, "Purple Bell King, thank you." The three native experts in the core control room of the altar had been monitoring everything from the beginning to the end. It was just that the previous wave of violent bombardment had torn apart the treasure room, destroyed layer after layer of cabins, and destroyed a large number of buildings in the altar. There was a moment of chaos in the monitoring, but soon became clear. They could clearly see Purple Bell King diving down to collect the treasures. They also noticed the treasures at the lower levels strangely vanished one by one. When Luo Feng finally appeared, they were all shocked. It's that human. He actually didn't die. Even the most powerful outsider died, but he didn't. No wonder the clan elders said that some of the most powerful experts of the Four Peak races have all sorts of treasures and techniques, and that we can't get our revenge. It really is terrifying. Even the most powerful outsider, someone as powerful as that, died. This human was only an emperor level before, yet he's still able to live until now. Pu AI, Latimer and Minbu couldn't help but be shocked. The final winner of this treasure trove battle seemed to be that human. He's the biggest winner. Our treasure trove room's treasures have fallen into his hands too. The inheritance room has countless techniques. However, this treasure trove room has the most useful treasures to these alien races. The three aboriginals were filled with regret, especially the god Lord Pu AI. The moment the old dragon Chi Ka died, the god Lord Pu AI naturally became the highest leader of his race. He too felt the pressure from the survival of his race. Even if the sky fell, there would always be a tall one to hold it up. Hence, the pressure from the survival of the race was usually felt by the strongest. I didn't expect their battle to destroy the treasure trove room. The god Lord Pu AI shook his head and sighed. I originally wanted to wait for their god country to teleport away. However, now that the treasure trove room has been destroyed and the chained treasure chest has fallen into their hands, even the altar has been blasted through 6,000 kilometers. The entire altar's engraving structure has been largely destroyed. It's only left with 10% to 20% of its power. Let's go back. The god Lord Pu AI looked at Latimer and Minbu. The treasure trove room's chain treasure chest has been taken by the alien races. The most precious part of the altar is the engravings that the Reverend sect set up. However, under the large-scale destruction, the effects are very weak. The altar is now useless. Minbu and Latimer both nodded. At least we've obtained the race's inheritance. The god Lord Pu AI said softly. With the inheritance, the race will have a future. Earth had long recognized the importance of knowledge and culture, and to the trillions of races in the universe. Every race's unique training techniques that countless warriors have accumulated over countless years are the most important part of the race's inheritance. When a race's strongest warriors all die, the few weak undyings that survived, only those undyings that survived remember the techniques. They were unable to strengthen the race. Without the countless techniques in the river of time, they might very well be destroyed. As for becoming strong, there was almost no chance of them rising up. With the race's techniques, they had hope of becoming strong. Alter, self-destruct. The god Lord Pu AI ordered, "You will leave with me." "Yes, master." Within the vast and ancient god country, the god Lord Pu AI, Latimer and Minbu appeared out of nowhere. "God Lord, where's the elder? Why hasn't he returned?" The other titled kings asked. Latimer, Minbu, and the god Lord Pu AI all had a trace of sadness in their eyes. The god Lord Pu AI pointed at the space passage. "Collapse." The entire space passage immediately began to collapse. The Elder. For the race, he has fallen. The God Lord Pu AI said softly. The other titled kings were stunned. But the Elder's fall has brought our race's inheritance. The God Lord Pu AI roared. The race's countless techniques from before the calamity, the ones that are suitable for our race, we've already brought them all back. With the race's inheritance, our race will definitely grow stronger and rise once more. Rise, rise, rise. These titled kings were filled with sadness for the Elder's fall. But at the same time, they had a burning belief. They were filled with hope for the future. The race rise. Chapter 865. The God Lord Pu AI and the others destroyed the space tunnel. They didn't care about what happened within the altar anymore. They only knew to focus on nurturing the next generation of warriors. And within the altar, Purple Zhong Emperor's body was small and skinny. His expression was ferocious. His body had a purple bell silhouette. A formless pressure emanated, and he stared hard at the silhouette before him. Luo Feng's wings, however, gently flapped, smiling as he looked at Purple Zhong Emperor. In terms of body size, amongst the trillions of races in the vast universe, Luo Feng's body size was indeed average. However, this Purple Zhong Emperor was only 1.6 tall and skinny. This gave Luo Feng an advantage. I underestimated you, Purple Zhong Emperor said hoarsely. I too didn't expect you to be so cunning. Luo Feng said softly. The treasures were originally mine. I didn't expect you to get them in the end. I'm afraid you've snatched quite a few treasures after Ash Gold Emperor's death. The Purple Bell King's claws that were covered in scales clenched tightly. It was obvious that he was already burning with rage. Anyone who had the chance to obtain a street full of gold ingots. But in the end, he only obtained a truckload of gold ingots and was taken away by his opponent 100 times over. Originally yours? Luo Feng laughed mockingly. Within, there's Tiger Thorn Emperor, Night Chin Emperor, Ice Blade, and also Ash Gold Emperor's treasures. This altar treasure trove originally belonged to the aboriginals of Yinji continent. Which one is yours? In the battle, I won. Naturally, it's mine. Purple Zhong Emperor snorted coldly. In the battle, one after another fell. Only 2 were left alive. Luo Feng laughed softly. In this huge battle, whoever survives is the victor, and I'm the true victor. Cunning. Purple Zhong Emperor gritted his teeth. He ignited his undying body and used a fire god origin crystal to destroy Ash Gold Emperor. Finally, a large portion of the treasures fell into Luo Feng's hands. You aren't bad either. First, you hid your strength. You clearly had the strength to deal with me. Yet you burned 3% of your undying body to hide. Let that strongest king, Grey Gold, fight the rest of us. Night Star King, Ice Blade King, Tiger Thorn King, and you even shouted at the very last moment, telling me to fight with my life on the line. Obviously, you're planning for the 4 of us to expend his energy before killing him. Luo Feng said softly. In terms of cunning and ruthlessness, how can I compare to you? It's just that I'm more patient. G. The Purple Bell King let out an ear-piercing laugh. Well said. In terms of methods, I surpass you. It is only your life-preserving and concealing methods that are stronger than mine. However, the final treasure is still mine. Purple Bell Emperor's voice reverberated within the pathway. A purple bell expanded fiercely and headed straight for Luo Feng. Luo Feng's wings shook fiercely the moment the Purple Bell Emperor moved, unleashing his 3 combos to travel through universe. Xiao! His speed skyrocketed in an instant, whistling through the air as he charged into a winding passageway at the side, quickly escaping along the passageway. Don't even think about escaping. The Purple Bell King's body had a faint shadow of a bell as he chased after it with all his might. Shwa! Shwa! The distance between the two swiftly grew. Even the Emperor-level warrior Ash Gold Emperor could only rely on other methods to affect Luo Feng's speed in such a winding passageway. Much less the much weaker Purple Bell Emperor, he had no way to stop Luo Feng at all in an instant. The distance was completely widened to the point where he couldn't even be seen. The naked eye couldn't see and couldn't detect. Bastard. Purple Bell Emperor's eyes were filled with rage and unwillingness. I'll definitely kill you, definitely. Luo Feng had acquired a large portion of the treasures this time, and he also knew of Purple Bell Emperor's biggest secret, that mysterious ancient bell. These 2 points made Purple Bell Emperor want to kill Luo Feng. No matter what, I have to kill him. A powerful trump card is a hidden trump card. The moment all the warriors know I have this ancient bell, they'll be on guard against me. And some absolute beings may very well attack me and steal my treasure. I have to kill him quickly. Chase. Purple Bell Emperor chased relentlessly from behind. He obviously couldn't see Luo Feng, but he could only use his fastest speed to rush out of the altar. Luo Feng flew out of the pathway to the core region, passing through the normal residential region, and finally through the entrance of the altar, finally leaving the altar. I'm out. Luo Feng looked at the large amounts of rock and dirt around him, revealing a smile. I've been chased too badly. I can't even unleash my full strength in the altar. It's too stifling. That pathway is at most 1 kilometer wide. The golden horned beast's huge body has probably been squeezed into a biscuit. Luo Feng grinned, immediately changing his body in less than half a second. A huge creature appeared in the dirt. Its body was over 100 kilometers long, and it was completely golden. Its claws were incomparably thick, and it had a pair of spread golden wings. Its eyes were dark golden in color. Howl! Its nostrils spat out hot air. After acquiring the armor, I've never had a true battle. Purple Bell Emperor, this is the first time. The golden horned beast was entrenched in the endless dirt. The dirt was easily pushed aside. To the powerful golden horned beast, this thick dirt was no different from Earth's air resistance to humans. The golden horned beast was entrenched there, staring from above, almost like a giant staring in an ant's nest, waiting for the ant to come out. This human strength is weaker. He can't teleport. The moment he reaches the altar and I discover him, he won't be able to escape. I can teleport. Human, you can't escape. Purple Bell Emperor became a beam of light, finally flying out of the altar. So, the moment he flew out, Purple Bell Emperor was filled with killing intent, madly releasing his undying energy, wanting to search in all directions, simultaneously using his scanning device and releasing his law domain. Anyways, Purple Bell Emperor was using all his methods, wanting to find a human yang at the first moment. Purple Bell Emperor looked shocked at the huge being before him, raising his neck and looking at the huge being before him. The golden horn beast was already over 80 kilometers in height. Comparing the two, it was like a normal human looking up at a monster that was over 10 times taller than the Himalayas. What huge fellow! Where did this monster come from? Demon race? Space beast? Purple Bell Emperor was curious. How? The golden horned beast had been squatting there, waiting silently. The moment it saw Purple Bell Emperor appear, it didn't hesitate to wave its right claw, this right claw, because of the Beast God transformation and Blood River energy transformation, was extremely thick. Compared to a normal golden horned beast's right claw, it was almost twice as thick. That huge blade-like claw was extremely vicious. Hwah! One claw struck out. The space collapsed. Dirt and dust were instantly sucked into the space vortex. The golden horned beast and Purple Bell Emperor too entered the space crevice. Pung! One was purely waiting. The other was shocked. Maybe he wanted to fight head-on and see the strength of the beast before him. Anyways, at such a close distance, this fierce claw directly slammed into Purple Bell Emperor's body. Rumble! Within the space crevice, within the endless space vortex, Purple Bell Emperor stabilized his body. Ow! The golden horned beast flew over, pressing down. What a terrifying beast! It's actually an Emperor Pinnacle. Purple Bell Emperor was shocked. Hwah! The golden horned beast's body was huge, and it had the armor on its body. With a flap of its wings, its speed was many times faster than the Earth body. The endless sea of fire formed by the 3 fire bells that the Purple Bell King controlled seemed to stagger a little before it was broken through by a dazzling golden river. a speed even more terrifying than that human yawn. Purple Bell Emperor had only clashed twice before completely giving up. Even at my peak, I can't gain any advantage against this beast. And within the altar, my undying body has been greatly damaged. My strength is less than half. Purple Bell Emperor was anxious and furious. He didn't want to fight this beast. He really wanted to find Luo Feng. What's going on? Where did that human escape to? Why did a monster suddenly appear? That's right, this monster is similar to the legendary Silver Wing King. Its body size, crown on its head, thick claws, wings. The only difference is that its color has changed. Previously, it was completely silver, but now, it's completely golden. Changing the color is easy. It should be that Silver Wing Emperor. Silver Wing Emperor belongs to the human camp. That means Yang is a human. He could very well have invited friend. Bastard. It's indeed the worst situation, I guessed. The moment he left the altar, he invited a warrior from the same camp. This golden beast is probably the earliest to arrive. There could very well be other warriors coming. Purple Bell Emperor thought about this. Even though he wasn't satisfied, he could only choose to leave. Schwa, teleportation, immediately vanishing into thin air. After Purple Bell Emperor vanished, only then did the golden horned beast disappear, and the earth body appeared. Luo Feng nodded. Without a doubt, the golden horned beast has the strength of an Emperor Pinnacle. Even though it's lacking in origin law comprehension, the universe origin law compatibility has increased by 10 times, and the creation of my own pinnacle technique has made up for this weakness, allowing me to truly have the strength of an Emperor Pinnacle. However, its weakness is obvious too. True Emperor ranked peak stage experts are either good at teleportation or at stopping time. In short, they usually have powerful laws and abilities. Luo Feng thought to himself, looks like I have to improve further. I'm still not strong enough. The Golden Horn Bee's strength was very strong, just that it couldn't teleport or use time pause. This teleportation and time pause were both life-saving techniques for training the space and time laws respectively. Luo Feng lacked this ultimate technique. However, he had the additional life-saving techniques from the Wu Yu wings and the King armor. So, Luo Feng became a silver light and swiftly left the space crevice, returning to the Sacrifice Yin continent, sitting in a universe ship and maintaining sublight speed in the skies above the continent, in the distant ice and snow skies of the Sacrifice Yin continent. Human. Purple Bell Emperor, who was covered in scales and had a ferocious expression, clenched his fists tightly. His powerful energy caused the surrounding space to explode. The powerful shock waves caused the 10,000 kilometers ice and snow lands below to form a hurricane, stealing the large amounts of treasures that should have belonged to me and the altar's treasures. And knowing my secret, I will definitely kill you. I will definitely kill you. Purple Bell Emperor's eyes gleamed coldly, gleaming fiercely, almost as though he was thinking of a plan to deal with Luo Feng. P.S. Third chapter here. Tomato. Continue writing the fourth chapter. Chapter 866. A black flying saucer was flying above Yinji continent. Luo Feng was in the control room, holding 2 cups of fruit wine. Night Emperor, Tiger Thorn Emperor. Even though I want to save you, I'm powerless. Luo Feng said softly. The universe is dangerous. The strong fall and the stronger survive. I hope to see you again in the distant future. Teacher Truyan Emperor and Primal Chaos City Leader Teacher both told me that the universe is filled with danger and I have to be careful. Back then, the master of Yunmo planet, Teacher Huyen Bo, asked Babada to leave me with the most important sentence, which is to make me respect the universe and never be arrogant. Luo Feng sighed softly. This is the experience gained from countless setbacks. I originally thought Emperor Pinnacle warriors would be absolutely safe on Yinji continent. I originally thought the pinnacle of Emperor-level warriors would be absolutely safe in the alien battlefields. I originally thought with teleportation, it would be hard to fall. But the truth is, in just one altar on Yinji continent, Night Emperor, Tiger Thorn Emperor, Ice Blade, Ash Gold Emperor, they all fell. Even the pinnacle of Emperor-level warriors fell. Luo Feng sighed. An Ash Gold Emperor died to someone weaker than him, Purple Bell Emperor. I really can't be careless. The outcome of the battle depended on many factors. The altar special environment made it impossible for everyone to teleport, scan, etc., which resulted in such huge losses. If they fought in the sky of Yanji continent, Ash Gold Emperor's time laws wouldn't be able to stop those experts who were good at teleportation from escaping. If they couldn't beat them, they would have escaped long ago. What can I do? This is the universe, and this is just a small altar on Yanji continent. Compared to the countless universe secret regions and countless dangerous places, who knows how much more dangerous it is? Luo Feng thought. No matter what, you have to be cautious and never be arrogant. If you can get such treasures, the geniuses of the other races might also get treasures, or even more powerful ones. In this battle, for Emperor-level warriors had fallen. What a tragedy! This also woke Luo Feng up. He didn't dare to be too arrogant anymore. Before, he got the Wu Killer Wings, Emperor Armor, and General Armor. Luo Feng was too arrogant and confident, just like what the high and mighty Primal Chaos City leader had determined. Actually, from his point of view, Luo Feng's fortune was very ordinary. The Royal Armor and General Armor were just external forces. Once Luo Feng's own strength increases, their effects would be much smaller. Request. Luo Feng frowned. Virtual Universe, Hong Meng City. Within a bar, Luo Feng was drinking and chatting with another human in a corner. Tian Shun, why are you looking for me so urgently? Luo Feng looked at the human before him. This was one of the many good friends he had made over the years, Tian Shan Emperor. Tian Shan Emperor and Knight Shan Emperor grew up in the same generation. They were both core disciples of the Battle Act Colosseum. The two of them had always been competing, and through that, they developed a deep friendship. Yang, the Night Star King, is dead. Tian Shan Emperor's eyebrows were very long. His entire being was very sharp, sighing softly. Before he died, he left me a message, saying that he was killed by the foreign-raced Song Jin Emperor. He died on the Yanji continent, and there were a total of 3 Emperor-level warriors there, including him. You were there too, and you were his good friend. Do you know the details? Right, he's dead. He died at the hands of Song Jin Emperor. Luo Feng sighed softly. Finally, he was forced to self-destruct by Song Jin Emperor. Song Jin Emperor, who? Tian Shan Emperor asked. Even though Song Jin Emperor was rather famous on the Yanji continent, he was after all a foreign race, a warrior from the automaton camp. Of course, Tian Shan Emperor didn't know him. Even within the Hongmeng Alliance, there were over 3 million Emperor-level warriors. Tian Shan Emperor only knew a portion of them. He didn't know many of them. Song Jin Emperor is dead too, Luo Feng said. Tian Shan Emperor was shocked, after which he nodded. Whatever, roaming the universe, walking the line between life and death. Death is inevitable. Come, drink with me. All right. Luo Feng drank with Tian Shan Emperor. Regarding this matter, Luo Feng didn't want to say too much. His grudge with Purple Zhong Emperor was destined to end one day. He didn't want Tian Shan Emperor to get involved. Whether it was himself or Purple Zhong Emperor, they both had treasures on them. Their own survival abilities were strong. And even though Purple Zhong Emperor didn't get the altar treasure, other than the chain treasure chest, the large amount of treasures, Purple Zhong Emperor still got close to half. That large amount of treasures represented a huge amount of wealth. Purple Zhong Emperor could totally buy fire god origin crystals and other treasures to raise his strength. The next battle will probably be even more dangerous. Purple Zhong Emperor is after all someone who has killed an Emperor-level warrior before. Luo Feng didn't dare to be careless. He didn't know. Purple Zhong Emperor, including Song Jin Emperor, had already killed 2 Emperor-level warriors before. I have to think of a way to deal with Purple Zhong Emperor. That Purple Zhong Emperor treated Luo Feng as an opponent, thinking of ways to kill him. Luo Feng, too, was thinking of ways to deal with Purple Zhong Emperor. Within the world of the World Ring, The Masha clansman and the golden-horned beast both appeared. The altar treasure chest. Black-clothed Luo Feng looked in the distance at the large amount of treasures in the center, the chained treasure chest. All the other treasures added together are far from being comparable to this chained treasure chest. Black-clothed Luo Feng thought. Just the protection alone costs a few 100 million mixed elements. The treasures within must be shocking. Let's try and see if I can use the Masha clansman to transform into a native of the Sacrifice Flame continent and trick the censors to open the chest. If it doesn't work, then I'll have to make a trip back to Primal Universe Primal Chaos City to meet the Primal Chaos City teacher and get him to help open it. This chained treasure chest, Luo Feng estimated, even True Yin teacher would have a hard time opening it. However, to the Primal Chaos City leader, it would definitely be easy. Even though he didn't want to trouble his teacher, for the sake of the altar treasure, it was worth it. To the Primal Chaos City teacher, it was just a matter of opening it. Let's try. Transform. Black-clothed Luo Feng immediately transformed into a flow of energy and transformed into a 6-armed sacrifice flame continent native. Within the residential area of the altar, there were some remains. Those were the bones of Sector Lord Pinnacle warriors of the Sacrifice Flame continent. The toughest part of the body was the bones. Just like one of the disciples of the Yin Mo planet master, Hu Yin Bo, even after tens of thousands of years, his golden bones were still perfectly intact. Sector Lord Pinnacle, their bodies were naturally strong, and their bones were the strongest. Compared to an undying's body, a Sector Lord's bones were very close. Hence, when a muscle's decayed, the bones would still exist for a very long time. Luo Feng had the thought of changing to trick the chest. Naturally, he brought along some of the bones, borrowing the genes, and directly mimicking the bones and genes of the Aboriginals, transforming them. Natural ability. Copy. The Masha Sacrifice Flame tribe members' aura changed, becoming Chio-Chi-Kas. After all, the living Sacrifice Flame tribe warriors Luo Feng had only seen Chio-Chi-Ka, as for the fallen Aboriginals, copying the energy of the dead, whether it was effective or not. Luo Feng wasn't sure. He felt it wasn't as effective as copying the living. Message Talisman. The Masha Sacrifice Flame tribe member flipped his hand and took out a message talisman. Within it was Luo Feng's spirit imprint. The 3 great bodies, their spirit imprints were all the same. Naturally, they recognized him as its owner. The message talisman immediately entered his body. Everything settled. Genes, energy, message talisman. I have it all. I just don't know if I can open this chest. Demon killer Luo Feng walked to the chain chest. The 12 chains were still connected to some metal shards, all binding the chest. On it there was a mysterious, sacrificial engraving. Demon killer Luo Feng took a deep breath. He extended his right hand and gently rubbed the chest. The system within the chest began to inspect. It has to succeed. It has to succeed. Demon killer Luo Feng was nervous within. He prayed silently. Even though he could get the Primal Chaos City leader to help, within his heart, if he didn't have to ask his teacher, he definitely wouldn't. He had to rely on himself for everything. If he really had no choice, he couldn't just waste such a treasure trove. It wouldn't be too late to ask later. This chest's sensory system, I wonder how advanced it is. I hope it can be opened. Actually, the sensory system wasn't as exaggerated as Luo Feng thought it would be. It only detected 2 things. One was the message talisman. The other was life energy. As for the gene structure, different life forms indeed had different gene structures. However, harvesting the genes, there were many ways to deceive. The life energy, however, was different. Different life forms had different energies. Different races had completely different energies. Humans, even though they all had different energies. However, the entire human race, their energies were considered similar, belonging to the same type. Just like humans in Bug Clan, their energies were obviously worlds apart, and their life energies were something that couldn't be imitated other than the extremely few special races in the universe that had their natural abilities. What were natural abilities? Natural abilities were special abilities bestowed by the universe. Some couldn't be trained at all. Life energy confirmed. Message talisman confirmed. Ha! The chest's originally locked lid automatically opened. Ha! Demon killer Luo Feng, who was anxiously waiting, immediately revealed a smile, immediately opening the chest. Within the chest, there were 3 world rings. Scanning with his world energy, these 3 rings were ownerless. Let's look at them one by one. Luo Feng picked up the 3 world rings and began to inspect them. His world energy seeped into the first world ring. The world within this ring was vast and boundless. One could only see many metallic mountains, countless rare liquids forming lakes, E-grade ships. It was densely packed like a swarm of locusts. There was a sea of items. Damn, this. Luo Feng was completely shocked. Luo Feng picked up the 2nd and 3rd world rings to check. My God, this time we've really struck it rich. The race's treasure. Even back when the natives of the Yanji continent were at their strongest, this treasure should have taken up quite a bit of their wealth. Luo Feng was completely shocked by this huge amount of treasure. He didn't know that back then the few knights knew it was hard for them to survive, so they divided all of their treasures into the 100 true inheritance pagodas. This was the Yanji continent's natives, 1% of their entire race's wealth. August ended. We obtained 1st place in the monthly votes. Thank you, brothers, for your support. Because of your support, Tomato is full of fighting spirit and energy. Even though there was an annual meeting this month, the promise was still fulfilled. Today's 4 chapters were finished. The promise to update was fulfilled. The new month had arrived. The competition at the start of the month was fierce. Tomato needed everyone's votes too. Everyone give your votes to Tomato. Chapter 867. The huge amount of treasures left behind by the aboriginals of the continent was simply too shocking. My God, this is really... Luo Feng blinked. His entire body was boiling. We've struck it rich. We've really struck it rich. No wonder Songjin Emperor, Purple Bell Emperor, and the others all fought so hard for the treasures. Even Night Chin Emperor and Tiger Thorn Emperor were filled with desire. Looks like they've seen more than me. They know how shocking the treasures are. It's not just shocking. That's crazy. Luo Feng muttered to himself. Each of the 3 world rings had different levels of treasures, and every one of them had a message. Luo Feng flipped his hand, and 3 pieces of metal appeared out of thin air. The pieces of metal were engraved with tiny characters. They were all written in the language of the natives of the Yanji continent, and they described the contents of the treasure. Surviving clansmen. Within this world ring are treasures for sector lords, domain lords, universe levels, star levels, and star traveler levels. Even though many of the items are cheap, there are many of them, filling the entire world with countless items. Adding them up, it's a huge amount of wealth. You have to use them carefully. You have to consider that the clan needs trillions of years to slowly rise up. You have to control the output. Nurturing the next generation is the most important, because these weak clansmen that are still growing are the future of our clan. This world ring represents the future. Clansmen, this world ring stores treasures for the undyings. Even though the amount is far from the last one, the total amount of wealth is much higher. Surviving the calamity, our clan has difficulty surviving. We need the surviving undyings to open up a living space for us. They need enough treasures to be able to roam the universe. Clansmen, this last world ring stores a set of true engraved weapons. The engraved weapons are our clan's highest achievement. Over countless years, our clan's knights have worked hard to create them, yet they've only created less than 100 of them. And after this calamity, these engraved weapons and our knights' treasures have all been split among the 100 inheritance pagodas. Some inheritance pagodas contain secret rune weapons, while others contain treasures used by venerables. Although engraved weapons were not very useful to venerables, their value in the universe was not lower than venerables' treasures because they were very powerful. As for how to use the engraved weapon and what its abilities were, the engraved weapon had a detailed explanation. Although there's only one of this secret pattern weapon, its price far exceeds the sum of the previous 2 world rings. Luo Feng looked at the 3 pieces of metal, stunned. 3 world rings. One was for the undying level and below, sector lords, domain lords, universe levels, and other weaker clansmen. One was an immortal rank treasure. One was a clan protection treasure, a secret pattern weapon. That's way too awesome. Engraved weapons are the highest achievement of the civilization of the indigenous people of this continent. Countless years of painstaking production, but there were less than 100 of them, and its price far exceeds the wealth of the previous 2 world rings. Luo Feng immediately took the 3rd world ring. With a thought, he retrieved the only weapon within. Hua! This weapon was small and exquisite, somewhat similar to an arm guard. The main color of the material was black, vaguely giving off a feeling of hazy stars. How to use the engraved weapon, with a detailed explanation. Luo Feng looked at it curiously. He couldn't understand it all. Immediately, a thread of world energy seeped into the engraved weapon and began to investigate. The moment it seeped in, the spirit imprint within the world energy automatically entered the arm guard. The engraved weapon arm guard immediately recognized him. How convenient. As Luo Feng easily made the engraved weapon recognize him, a piece of information immediately entered his consciousness. This information was a detailed description of the engraved weapon. It's called the Space Lock Arm, one of the less than 100 engraved weapons in the universe, in the form of an arm guard. My clan's strongest and most mysterious is the sacrificial engraved. This is a special path that my ancestor discovered and comprehended in a universe secret region. It's also the path that suits my clan the most. Just like the altar you all are sitting on, it's one of the most basic uses of the sacrificial engraved. Within the altar are countless sacrificial engravings, finally forming the ability to repel probing, space sealing, etc. However, these are real engravings. They require a vessel and have a huge limitation. There's no way to use them effectively in battle. Hence, my ancestor finally created the even stronger space engravings. Every engraved weapon contains a complex structure of space engravings. The moment it's provided with an energy source, it can cause the space engravings to scatter in space. The area it scatters within is a controlled area. The best energy source is an undying God crystal. One must never use one's own undying God energy. Because the power of the engraved weapon is huge, the energy consumption is shocking too, and this consumption is completely depleted. If one uses one's own undying God energy, it's equivalent to burning one's undying body. It's not worth it. There are many undying God crystals in the universe. The stronger the energy it contains, the longer it can be used. The Space Lock Arm's function is to scatter the space engravings within an area, locking down the space ripples within. Unable to teleport. Hence, this Space Lock Arm is the nightmare of space law warriors. Of course, it will affect the user too. The user himself cannot teleport. Hence, the Space Lock Arm is most suitable for time law warriors to use. To strong time law warriors, being able to use time pause, however the opponent cannot teleport. Naturally, the advantage is huge. The Space Lock Arm, due to the space engravings within. Hence, as long as one carries the Space Lock Arm, with the user as the center, the space within a certain area will be locked down. This is much more effective than the altar, etc. The altar space is limited, and it's very hard to move with the user, and battles can easily destroy the structure of the altar and the engravings on it. And the space engravings are unbreakable. The Space Lock Arm's range can be split into 3 levels. 1. 10,000 kilometers in radius. 2. 100,000 kilometers in radius. 3. 1,000,000 kilometers in radius. The larger the range, the more energy it consumes. As the Space Lock Arm consumes a shocking amount of energy, it's only used against true enemies in life and death battles. Don't use it carelessly. I hope the later generations of warriors within the clan can use this engraved weapon to protect our clan, allowing our clan to rise. Damn, damn, damn. Luo Feng felt his head buzzing and heating up. He was so excited he almost lost his mind, spitting out 3 words in a row. I've really made a comeback, a huge comeback, really a huge comeback. Luo Feng felt the information in his mind. He was extremely excited within. This fight for the altar's treasure was too worth it. Back when he first entered the altar and realized the uniqueness of the engravings within, Luo Feng was already very envious. Battling within the altar, he had the advantage. However, once the scale of the battle gets bigger, the altar will be destroyed, and the altar space is limited. Luo Feng can only dream about it. Engraved weapon? Altar engravings? Is it the ancestor of the natives of the Sacrifice Flame continent, a path of the strong that he stumbled upon in a universe secret region? Luo Feng complimented. It's really powerful. There are real engravings and even void engravings. The altar treasure's 3 world rings, especially the last one, really made Luo Feng very happy. Let's give it a try. Luo Feng, who couldn't resist, extended his left arm. Huh. The space-locking arm directly stuck to Luo Feng's left arm, and a part of it melted into his skin. At the same time, the hazy black surface of the star suddenly cracked open, revealing an energy groove within the space-locking arm. It needs an extremely high-energy undying god crystal. Luo Feng let out a smile. I still have 2 fire god origin crystals, each worth 200 million points. If one explodes, it's comparable to a low-level Emperor's self-detonation. Fire God Origin Crystal, Thunder God Origin Crystal, etc. These were originally extremely high-energy crystals of the Undying God. They could be used as an energy source. They could also be directly detonated. Actually, when the automaton race designed them, they originally planned to provide some large equipment with an extremely pure and powerful energy source. Who would have thought that after the battles in the universe, many strong warriors would discover its use, making the Fire God Origin Crystal more of an explosive weapon. Pa Luo Feng flipped his hand and placed a Fire God Origin Crystal into the groove. It only took up a third of the groove. Chi-Chi, the inside of the groove, instantly tightened, the energy flowing smoothly. Ka! The surface closed up again. The entire arm guard was tightly sealed. Luo Feng's thoughts moved. The silver armor automatically covered the arm guard, protecting it well. Actually, this space-locking arms material was extremely expensive, much stronger and sturdier than the chain treasure chest. Even a knight would find it hard to damage it. Space lock. The space-locking arm had long recognized its owner. Luo Feng naturally could easily control it. The smallest area, a 10,000 kilometers radius, space lock. Luo Feng easily activated it. The engraved weapon space-locking arm had the 200 million point Fire God Origin Crystal as its energy source. The energy was simply too abundant, and it was instantly activated. Wong, with the space-locking arm as the core, a formless, strange energy instantly spread out in all directions. This was another type of undulation that was very similar to the ripples of space in the universe. Within a 10,000 kilometers radius of space, the sky, the mountain range, the prairie, the underground soil, all of them had the void sacrificial secret runes. These sacrificial secret runes were all void secret runes that were faintly discernible. Even if one punched it, they would only hit empty air. Because they were void secret runes, they couldn't be destroyed. To destroy them, one would have to destroy the space-locking arm. Luo Feng revealed a look of glee, surveying his surroundings, looking up at the sky and the land. Really, with the Masha clansman's precise senses of the universe space, he could clearly feel that the 10,000 kilometers radius of the universe space was completely locked. There was no space ripples. There was no way to teleport. P.S. The first chapter has arrived. The 2 were released together today.